Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for your patience. We appreciate it. At this time, I entertain a motion to reconvene in open session. It's been properly moved and second to reconvene open session. Roll call, please, Mr. Italiano.
Dr. Wang?
Yes.
Ms. Dowling?
Yes.
Spina?
Present.
Dr. Herman here. Ms. Spilak?
Here.
Cyrus?
Here.
Dr. Jernigan?
Here.
Ms. Oregon?
Present.
Mr. Todd?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Please rise to salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, at this time we'll have the MTSD student representative report.
Thank you. So the MHS People Project Club has continued its self-care initiatives during lunch. At the moment, they've been doing origami, but they've had multiple different self-care projects throughout lunch for the past couple of months. Graduating seniors can now purchase graduation announcements in the Montgomery News by June 15th and can also purchase yard signs. All the information is on the school Instagram. The MHS Orchestra and Band went to go see an open rehearsal of the Philadelphia Orchestra last week. The band's spring instrumental concert also happened 2 weeks ago, and the orchestra concert is happening right now. James Bond Future Prom was on May 16th, and currently MHS students are voting for the best of the prom proposals. All students also that were going to prom went to an assembly a couple days before prom to talk about prom and after party safety. Baseball, golf, and tennis had senior nights to mark the end of their season. And Once Upon a Mattress, which was Music of the Heart's production, was on May 10th, with MHS students participating by being part of the pit. We've had delayed opening for NJSLA testing for juniors on Monday and Tuesday, and there will be delayed opening for 9th graders on Wednesday and Thursday. On May 15th, students went to New York City to see Hadestown. The track team did very well at sectionals a couple days ago. They placed very well. Aerospace members went to the Montgomery Rocketry Competition National Finals, and the class of 2026 is hosting a pickleball tournament on June 11th.
All right, thank you. This time when I have superintendent's reports and presentations.
We have some amazing presentations, so I will be quick because I know everyone patiently was waiting. First, I want to remind everyone that the schools are closed Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. Monday is Memorial Day. I encourage everyone to find a local parade and go and celebrate and be thankful for all those who gave their lives for our freedom. Okay, at the high school, we had 691 students this month take 1,625 AP exams. We are excited for all of those students as they continue to demonstrate their brilliance at the highest level. The seniors danced the night away at the senior prom this past Friday night. They were dressed to their finest and had a blast at the James Bond 007 black tie event. At UMS, the select band, jazz band, and 8th grade choir all participated in the High Note Music Festival at Dorney Park. The students' performances were so outstanding that each group received superior rating in their respective divisions, which is the highest and most prestigious award given. These recognitions continue to be a long-standing tradition of excellence in the UMS music program. They also were awarded top rookie school in vocabulary competition. UMS students' hard work and motivation helped them master 11,346 words. At LMS, the spring performances for 5th and 6th grade bands and orchestras were outstanding in their respective concerts. They also looked amazing and had fun at their Spring Fling social dance sponsored by and organized by the PTO. We are grateful for the PTO for their offering such a fun event for our students. The Montgomery Elementary School PTA hosted a fun-filled multicultural PK4 family learning experience at International Night earlier this month at Orchard. 3rd graders gave a phenomenal performance, What is Music concert last week. On the same evening, 3rd grade artists welcomed families to their gallery of masterpieces in the village foyer and hallways. It was a wonderful celebration of the arts. All Orchard Hill Cubs participated in our school-wide wellness day last week as part of the celebration for Mental Health Month. Students have planned activities throughout the campus, including children's yoga and interactive nature walks. Second graders are holding their annual choral concert this week. Students are excited for their families to watch them making music together to get a glimpse of some of the music skills and concepts the students develop in the class throughout the year. Now I'm proud and excited to introduce part of our robotics team to come and demonstrate for us. Thank you all for coming and staying, and please, right after this, we're having another food event, so please stay and eat some food before you go home. All right, thanks.
Yeah. Good evening, and thank you for having us. We're representing Team 1403 Cougar Robotics. So, our robotics team has been competing in the first robotics competition for 21 seasons now, and we want to show you how your support makes this all possible.
So this presentation is going to go through a journey of our season. We're going to start with our Hatboro-Horsham District event. Then we're going to touch base on our Montgomery District event. We'll then showcase our highlights and accomplishments from our first Mid-Atlantic District Championship. Beyond competitions, we're going to showcase to you all how our impact extends to our community and inspiring STEM in everyone. Yeah. Now we'll have Corby with impact.
Team 1403 isn't just about competition though. We held many team bonding activities through the year. At the beginning of every season, we do host our Cougar classes where mentors teach us different skills ranging from competition ethics to storytelling to the engineering side of cooking. Additionally, we held Big Cougar, Little Cougar sessions where returning members partnered with new members to work through a more STEM-based activity. This helped break the barrier between leader and member and made them leaders feel more partial to members. However, our preparation for this year started in the summer. Our leadership team attended trainings run by Mr. Brady in August, where Mr. Brady taught us basic communication skills, leaders versus managers, and more. Additionally, we all met with Mr. Brady and our captains to verify that all student expectations for the year were measurable and attainable. However, our team bonding didn't end there. We continued throughout our build season, and in February we partnered with Minds Without Borders, a mental health nonprofit organization, to host a mental health awareness workshop where we discussed strategies for recognizing stress and anxiety. Now, I was going to discuss Hatboro-Horsham, our first competition this year.
Thank you. At Hatboro, we not only delivered an excellent performance within our robots capabilities, but also as a united team. At this competition, we ranked top 30 individually, which qualified us for the playoff round, where we proudly ended as the 8th overall alliance. Beyond our on-field success, our team won many prestigious awards demonstrating our impact and dedication to the FIRST company. Most notably, we were winners of the first Engineering Inspiration Award. This award honors a team's success in the advertising of appreciation for engineering within their team and community. To achieve this award, we had many outreach initiatives, such as our Bridgewater Temple classes, where we as a team taught first LEGO League core concepts to younger students, such as programming and decision-making skills, to better expand the idea of STEM within our community. Winning this award allowed us to compete with other Engineering Inspiration Award winners at the district level. In addition, 2 of our members, Aditi Hota and Anirudh Nupala, were nominated by our team as first Dean's List semifinalists. This award celebrates a student's dedication, leadership, and commitment to a team. Anirudh went on to be labeled as a first Dean's List district competition semifinalist at Hatboro, where he was later able to represent our team at the district competition level. Lastly, but certainly not least, we are proud that our head advisor, Mr. Brady, was nominated for the prestigious Woody Flowers Award. This award celebrates a mentor who demonstrates influence, dedication, and leadership in a team-based setting. Now, Shashank will be talking about our second competition held here in Montgomery.
So, learning from our weaknesses at our first event, our team worked late nights to make various modifications to our robot. Over the course of 4 weeks, we redesigned both software and hardware components to enable us to become more competitive at our home event.
Just like we had hoped, we did phenomenally at Montgomery event.
Out of 32 teams, we placed fourth, and in the playoff section, our alliance placed third overall. We also won one of the most prestigious awards in FIRST, the FIRST Impact Award. This award celebrates our extensive community outreach over the past few years, which also bolstered community interest in STEM. Talking about the event as a whole, we also hosted a Women in STEM presentation and created a mentor and mental health safe space for team members. Keeping the momentum going, we also toured Mayor Nina Singh and New Jersey District 16 Assemblywoman Julius around the event. Working with Assemblywoman Julius, we are currently navigating to find a facility to host a field. This way, teams from her district and beyond, including Hillsborough, Flemington, and Montgomery, have a place to practice and scrimmage with each other. Up next, here's Vansh to talk about our experience at the district championship.
I'm very proud to present that at our district championship, we put up one of our biggest scores yet. We finished top 30 out of 140 teams with a ranking that put us in the 84th percentile globally. This was because of our 90% scoring efficiency and a top speed on our robot reaching over 10 miles. And out of our 3-team alliance, we consistently put up over 50% of our team's points.
Now, beyond the numbers, this wasn't a fluke. This was due to our strategy with quick decision making, quick working under pressure, and able to coordinate different components very effectively with our team. Now, apologies for misspeaking. Now we have proven with it.
We continue to assist with this engineering and coding summer camp hosted at SourceSoar. Through this, children participate in STEM activities such as building a Lego spike robot with color and light sensors to build critical thinking skills. Through this, they find success in STEM challenges, and this encourages them to pursue new engineering opportunities, such as joining the first Lego League team. Our team continues to mentor the 2 first Lego League teams found at UMS, 26362 the Thundercats, and 26361 the Robopods. This year, we recently started mentoring a new community team, the Creative Lego Builders, who meet in the local neighborhood community of the Country Club Estates. Our student mentors guide these students through the programming of each mission, help them develop their innovation and business projects, and go with them to the competitions to cheer on. Fun fact, 40% of our team actually comes from one of these 3 FLL teams. Our team is also part of the Compass Alliance, or TCA, an international coalition founded 8 years ago by 10 teams around the world with the mission to create a one-stop shop for FRC resources. As the only active and founding member left, we are working to revive it. Last year, we published 18 worksheets which were recognized by FIRST on their website. When reviewing them, we realized the difficulty of the questions and turned them into instructional Instagram reels, where we fill them out using ourselves and others as examples. As of right now, this growing video library has over 13,500 views across the US and reaching viewers as far as Canada, India, and Israel. Along with our technical resources, we also share manufactured parts. With the recent purchase of our new CNC router, we've contacted teams across the First Mid-Atlantic community to help manufacture parts for teams 714 Thundera from Newark, New Jersey, and 8630 CAP Robotics from Patterson, New Jersey. Next, Chinmay will be talking about how we inspire the youth in our community to pursue engineering.
This year, we started a plethora of new initiatives in order to expand our impact, each of these initiatives being shaped by our members' experiences. Ansh, a sophomore on our team, contacted the Bridgewater Balaji Temple, a community of over 10 different school districts. He created a hands-on curriculum for ages 8 through 14. During the first 6-week summer session, our members taught students Lego We-Do and Spike. In fact, the temple's education coordinator was so thrilled that she invited us back for another 4-week winter session, in which the students competed in a mock FLL season. Our members have spent over 380 hours mentoring the students, and for the students who attended, this was many of their first experience. Since then, 3 parents have contacted local FLL mentors in hopes of starting their own FLL teams. We also wanted to impact more kids in Montgomery, so because of that, we started Women in STEM story times. Here, girls read picture books about diverse women in STEM, and we keep the kids practically engaged by custom 1403 coloring books. We brought out the robot, and the kids were so excited that by the end of the event, the parents were practically dragging their kids away. We also started the library DIY event, in which over 50 kids have painted crafts that we made with our laser cutter. While painting, we also showed them a Lego spike robot, which you can see up on the screen, using one of our Lego spike kits. We showed a similar robot to the local Cub Scouts in order to inspire them to pursue engineering. Now I'll pass it on to Bunch to finish it off.
Yeah, so wrapping it up, we would like to share with you some of our season highlights. As you can see in the top left, those are actually our new LED cutouts of our team members, formed by our brand new Spirit Committee, which we want to have our team be a very inclusive environment where we're all very happy with each other and a great team space. So the Spirit Committee is helping with that. And you can see us demonstrating at competitions on the right. You have us putting coral in the human player stations. And then next we'd like to show you a highlight reel of our robot, best moments from this season. Clicker isn't working, but our next slide is just a thank you slide anyway. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, thank you. So thank you for your time, and we would like to extend you an invitation to our sponsor night, May 27th at our Montgomery High School from 6 to 7:30. So we are inviting local businesses to come and see our team, what we do, what we stand for, and how well we work. And it's in hopes to get sponsorships for our 2025 to 2026 season. And we have Ion, Ayush, and our robotics team, me included, demonstrating the robots. So if you could all turn your attention to them. Thank you again.
So to start off, our robot here. So this PVC pipe is called the Coral in the game mode. Throughout the game, that's mostly what we're scoring. We're scoring it on different locations, up and down. In order to do this, our robot is able to move the wrist independently to point it upwards to where the source, where we get the corals, and point it down to score them. Our elevator is also able to raise and lower to adjust for each one of the scoring positions. And once we get to a certain position, the robot's able to just shoot out the coral, just like that. Yep. And then we also have our algae. That's the big pink ball over here. That's the other game piece. So same thing, using the same mechanism, we're able to intake the algae like this. Once again, move the wrist in the elevator with it, and then we're able to lift it up and shoot it out into the barge, which is the net up high. Then once the majority of the game is done and end game rolls around, then our robot, while it's driving around the field, is able to go to the cage, which is like a metal structure. It can then deploy its climber to go downwards, run into it, and then the climber can come back up. And then of course, so part of our robot is automated, and so during the automated time period in the game, one thing that our robot's able to do is that, so we have these able tags over here, that's on the computer, and then so one of the things that we can do now is that the robot is able to follow the able tag that's sitting over there, the paper on the computer, and it will reorient itself to be facing that at each time. Yep, thank you. Are there any questions? Yes.
What would you say the value of your robot is?
Not as much as the car.
So thank you again for letting us have this conversation and speak with you. This whole thing, as you noticed, the beginning of the conversation was Mr. Brady does the beginning portion, but every single other component that you heard in their presentation, it's them running the other things. Them running the CNC, them doing all the design. This whole robot is basically manufactured entirely at the school, so we try not to buy like off-the-shelf products. So these kids programmed, built, manufactured, they even manufactured things for other teams, as you heard, because they have such a big heart. They want to impact this community here, as well as people outside this community around Newark. As you saw, also, our resources are reaching people in Israel, Canada, India. So I'm just so proud of our team, and them stepping up and doing all this is wonderful. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Mr. Brady and the team. You know the love and care and commitment everybody has when you see two retired people here still working with robotics team. Patty and Tim, hi, thank you.
And again, thank you guys for all that you do, and on behalf of the board, thank you. And I'm especially proud that you guys go out to different communities to share your work. I think that's critical and very important. So again, thank you, and you will continue to have the support of this board.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
The people we get, there's food. So I'm going to pass the mic over to Mr. Italiano, the business administrator, and he's going to introduce our Machio's.
Okay, thank you, Ms. McLaughlin. Our next presentation this evening is from our food service management company, Machio's. The way this is going to work, Machio's, if you could please come up to the podium and introduce yourself. We're going to have, after the introduction, a brief testing. You can engage the Machio's staff during the testing. Everybody's welcome to participate, audience members as well. And then at the end, we'll conduct a brief Q&A at the end. I'll pass to you folks. Thank you for coming out.
Well, the future is bright here at Montgomery Township. Students, you're brilliant. Thank you for having us tonight, Montgomery Township. We always look for the opportunities to show off what we do. It takes a village when we work with public school districts, but here at Machio's, it takes a village with heart. So we have our whole team here. I'd like for them to each introduce themselves. My name is Patty Fragidakis. I'm the Director of Operations with Machio's.
Ken Torsha, CEO, owner of Machio's. Thanks for having us tonight.
Hello, everyone. Nora Borza, Regional Lead.
Good evening, Susan Hollis, Area Supervisor.
Hello everyone, Lorraine Kunick, Director of Nutrition.
Hello, good evening, Marlon Wilson, Assistant Director.
Hi, Lawrence Troxel, I'm the Food Service Director.
Good evening, Michael D. Simone, District Chef.
Hello everyone, my name is Mike Jasinski. I'm corporate chef. I support the field culinary staff.
Hello, Sandy Valenino. I work at the high school.
Hello, I'm Daniela Coppola and I work at the high school.
So the way that we have this set up is a day in the life of a student. So we have both serving lines set up. On that side, we have the elementary school and middle school. On this side, we also do have the middle school and high school selections. We have sampling, so we show you what the full portion is for the students, but then we have samplings for you to taste in both hot and cold options. So I welcome everyone to the kitchen to try Day in the Life of your students.
Please proceed in an orderly fashion.
This is the front side. Good work out. This is good timing.
Would you like chicken broccoli?
Get some vegetables. Get some vegetables.
Extra sauce breadstick? Everything's fresher. Alright, want any extra sauce?
Just a little bit on the chicken. And breadstick.
Alright, enjoy some for us outside.
Because I'm hungry. I'm greedy. Should I get a chocolate milk?
That's old school.
Yeah, exactly. That is old school. Okay, check that.
Okay, what's the option? Do you want any, this is
All right, now that everyone's belly is full, please stay awake for the rest of the meeting. Appreciate it. Sophia has a couple of words she'd like to say.
Hi, so since it's my last meeting before the school year, I just wanted to say thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I had a really great time this year, learning more about what the Board of Education does and getting to share what MHS is doing with you guys. Since I'm a junior, I hope I get to come back next year and continue doing this with you guys. So I just wanted to say thank you so much to all of you for giving me this opportunity and having me for these past couple of months.
Thank you.
It was great. I'm going to buy lunch every single day for the rest of the school year.
Good endorsement.
Thanks, have a good night.
All right, you too.
Thank you for representing us so well.
All right, at this time, the Mashio's representatives, if you'd like to approach the podium, we're going to do a brief question and answer, and if the board has any questions or feedback from this school year that we would like to bring into the fall, that was the purpose of the testing, to improve our program for the start of the school year. So, as the representatives come up, now I'm going to defer to the board members. Kind of take turns. If you have any feedback, questions, concerns, the floor is yours to the board. Honest feedback, please, because I was asked to help to improve the program. So please, somebody go first. Board member speak.
Hi. I'm going to give you honest feedback. I did like the samosa. That's a new addition. You said that the veggie samosas.
Yes.
They're a new addition.
Maria,
Yes.
So right in front of my face. Yeah. Hello.
Here.
Is that better? Okay. The veggie samosas are very good. I'm glad that you're going to give those as another addition, especially for more vegetarian options. I don't know if it's, obviously things have been sitting out for a bit. I think that there are some things that are a little bit hard and a little bit salty. The teriyaki and things of that nature. I'm giving you my honest opinion. I know that my own children often tell me that when they get to the cafeteria for second lunch, that some of the options that they wish were still available are not there. Mainly salads. A lot of times they'll say, we know that they have salads because we see other people and they're eating them, but by the time we got there, they were all gone. And I'm so tired of eating a sandwich again. It's the same thing day after day. Not really wanting to necessarily go for some of the more unhealthy options, the burgers and chicken nuggets and french fries, although my high schooler swears that they eat french fries every day and that's all they eat. But, every kid is different, and I know that I do hear from my own children that they wish that there were more plentiful, fresh, and healthy options. So if some sort of tracking can be done as to how, I know you were already doing it because you were talking earlier about how you have ways of kind of gauging what the students are ordering, and then hopefully being able to plan for that. But I don't know, almost like not putting out all of the, I think that if we did put out more of the salads and the healthy stuff, they'd go for it. The Jersey Fresh items seem like really amazing, but once a month, I wish we could have more. It could be our price point too, I don't know, but.
So the recipe is once a month. The locally grown produce, we're actually getting it more often. So we do get the fresh apples, and we can talk about that. the LFS funding, we used it for that. So we have a lot of locally grown product. The problem is that it is sometimes in the winter, we're gonna get just the cabbage and we're gonna get just the apples and some potatoes it is seasonal. Yes, correct.
Make sure you speak into the microphone.
Sorry.
But what we can do with that is when we do have the local produce, you see the Jersey Fresh on the menu when we feature the recipe, we can put a little logo on it so all of the families do know this is local produce being served today.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I think Maria asked one of them, and that was about just, and I know sometimes with, I guess I don't know how that works. Sorry, how that works as far as I've had the same experience with my students, my kids, that they'll go to the cafeteria expecting one thing, and then we'll see something different. So I don't know how we can kind of, I guess prevent that from happening. And then number two, hopefully this is not, my kids won't hear this, but my question is, the ice cream, the cookies, things like that. I'm just always curious whose decision, I don't know if it's us as a district or why that needs to be something at lunchtime that they have the opportunity to purchase. Maybe some families don't mind, but it's sometimes, and I have these conversations, I know as a mom with my children saying, we talk about when and how much or whatnot, but it just feels like, even the day they do want to get a cookie, they get a whole pack of them, and I'm always surprised by that. So I was curious to learn more about that.
Very good. So all of the snacks that we serve in the cafeteria are Smart Snack compliant, which means it goes through a calculator. I should have Lorraine talk about this, our Director of Nutrition. So it is, whether it be lower sugar, it is whole grain based, so there are options available. The a la carte sales do help the district, so that would be a district decision. But there are ways that parents can limit on the account, perhaps a pop-up you put in there and one bag of chips today for Johnny. Those are options that we can do to show you.
I want to elaborate on one thing regarding the a la carte sales and snacks. Because most of the time it's thought that whatever sells in the cafeteria, it's my profit. Like I'm going to make all the money off the a la carte sales snacks. It doesn't work that way. If you decide not to sell snacks and it's a district decision and or limit them, that's entirely up to the district. Mascios just works on the management. So when we have the discussions with administration, things come up like that. So that's clearly an option for yourself. So that's an option that can go either way. And we also do the production records to track the items that sell as far as how much of them sell when we make them, so we could report back to you as often as we want with how much we prepared and how much was actually left over or taken, so that's an easy way to track.
And also, I've seen at high school more and upper middle school level, we can minimize the a la carte for the elementary if that's what the school district is looking for. For upper and high school, majority they would get it from Starbucks, from Wawa. So the fact that we're offering them an option, a healthier, even though it doesn't look like the chips are better, but it is a whole grain, it is low sodium. We are getting audited for that, and we need to comply with it. They will get it. The coffees, the sodas, they will get it. So making it available for them at a lower price and having the sugar-free option, the whole grain, I think, especially for that age group, it is a benefit for the district.
That's actually great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep.
I think that's a good point. High school versus maybe
Correct.
the new kindergarten student who is so excited and all of a sudden, their tray's filled with cookies and ice cream, their first day of school, right? So
And again, I also know that they're siblings, some elementary, some middle school, so on and so forth. We can limit it. We can do like Friday ice cream, or we can do Cookie Wednesday where they can come and get, and it's just one cookie, just make sure. So we can work around it, absolutely. We should still make them feel like they're part of the group, because I don't want, when my 6-year-old went home and she was like, oh, he got this and I didn't, you're still gonna get that. But if you would like to limit it, we can definitely accommodate.
I just had I'm just trying to recap all the discussions we had. Bringing samosas, the rock star of an item, to LMS and UMS is a good idea. I think kids will like it. The spice level is really good. I think it's not too spicy. And I think all the suggestions actually brought up by you, to have a vegetarian section separate for middle school and lower middle school would be a good idea, because the kids kind of feel awkward, and so this way if they have a place to go for their vegetarian meal, it would be great. I think it's a good suggestion by you. I agree with that. Rest of the things, all the food was good. I think the noodle was a little sweet, but I guess kids like that. It's good. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the.
Thank you. We appreciate it, and I really wanted everyone to try it. The part that you saw on the grill, they were all 3 items that we're gonna switch. So the burgers, even though that bread got hard because it stayed there for 45 to an hour, the burgers were raw burgers that we cooked, and that's what we're planning on serving. The chicken breast was raw chicken breast that was cracked, seasoned, and cooked and served. And I really wanted to get some feedback because we're kind of playing with some product right now for that. And I wanted to see. Unfortunately, it was not the best day today. So the samosas, the chicken sandwich, and the burgers were raw protein, and all 3 of them will be for next school year.
So for now, they haven't been. They've been previously cooked and frozen and reheated, or?
So they were no. They were par cooked items. So what we do normally for upper, middle, and high school, we have a combination of raw and par cooked items. For the elementary and lower middle school, we had just par cooked. But we had food advisories, and the kids tasted a difference. So we're planning on incorporating that for next school year overall, but we're trying different product that would go well, because we need to have the portion size to kind of go for each age group, and we wanted the feedback for that.
Yeah, I just want to echo what Maria said, and I think Vanita said as well. The exciting items go quickly, so if we could really sort of manage that a little bit, and then maybe just to educate the kids. I have a kid in every grade level in the high school, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and for some reason they always come home saying, I never knew that there was a X, or whatever it was. So maybe like through Genesis, or through if we could do a quick blast on like the 5 hide items of the day, or some, to sort of educate the kids before they go through the mayhem of the line. Because my kid either gets disappointed that the one thing he thought he was going to get is not there, and so he leaves the line, and he ends up not going through everything that might be available. So if there's a way to sort of educate the kids on what's available to them, that might be helpful.
Absolutely, and also we highly encourage attendance on the food advisories. The principals have been unbelievable. They really supported us in scheduling them, and we'd like to get more feedback from different age groups. Normally, we are required to do it twice a year. This year, we did it quarterly. We can do it monthly and hit a different grade or a different age group, and that way they can participate and give us the feedback, because everything that we got from those food advisories, and I was looking at them and I'm like, okay, they like the buffalo chicken pizza. Now I have, because they like the buffalo chicken pizza, I have to put it on the menu. I'm worried that I'm gonna have a 3rd grader that is gonna think that the buffalo chicken pizza is gonna be too spicy, and then the parent is gonna be upset about it. But we're trying to incorporate every feedback that we get from the students. So definitely, if the school district is interested in it, we can do it monthly without any problem in all the schools.
Just listening to the different discussions, one of the things that just hit me is it might be the best thing for us to do is to provide a monthly newsletter to you, so that way you know exactly what we're providing in each school and what's been new and different. So that way, obviously you can't make it to every cafeteria every day, but we can actually provide to you with pictures and menu items and discussion on the newsletter, so you see it, right? And then the other issue that I find that all the gray hair on my head tells me that I've been doing this for 35 years. I must have gotten something right along the way, but this is not a burden for us to encourage this communication because we can only learn from communication. And the biggest problems are solved with easy discussions. So I wouldn't mind if I had the opportunity to do this more often during the school year, because I think with open dialogue, even like this, it provides us the opportunity to act upon your requests. And quite frankly, with the cafeteria connections and meeting with the students more often, it's a win-win. So I wouldn't mind that. So maybe you and I can work on it for next school year, more frequent meetings like this with the board, and then also do the monthly newsletter to the parents and to the board.
Yeah, would the newsletter be something that you could do, not just, you're not talking just to the board, but to the parents?
Oh yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Have a calendar.
Yeah, but this
that's
is,
what I saw.
yeah, but this is, that's just the menu per se. What I wanted to do was do a snapshot of, by each building, what exactly has been happening, what we plan on doing, so that way it's highlighted. Because some of the stuff I think we're missing is exactly that. It's being missed because we don't know, right? So if we can provide you with not only to the parents by building, but to the board as well, what's been happening, I think that'll help close the gaps in some of the communication.
Of this whole thing.
Ask me how many.
But you have one here tonight to answer questions, so that means that they're working all the time. So yeah, it'd be great to know more about what's going on behind the scenes.
It's the industry as I knew it 35 years ago has taken on a life of its own. So if you told me that I'd have 30, 40 chefs and a dozen dietitians, I would say to you, where are we going with this? But the industry's changed. You have to change with it, and you have to be responsive. So by having the wonderful staff that I have, being able to be here and do that kind of stuff, it makes everybody's life easier, especially mine.
Do you have student-led focus groups to give you continuous feedback?
Yep, we met with them a couple times this year, but I think it might require for us to meet with them more frequently next year. The hardest time that we have is sometimes some of the administrators trying to fit it into a short month schedule. It doesn't always work out, but we can be a little bit of a nudge to make it happen. So.
I have a question. So, from your perspective, and since you do have continuous feedback, and then your staff and our principals work with you so closely, where do you think you still have room for improvement that we can see and basically high quality food?
I think just the reacting to this meeting per se, and I think some of the varieties and some of maybe the fresher varieties that I think we want to see in the lower schools, that maybe we can bring that along a little further. That's always a hit or miss though. I want to be honest. I mean, we'll do it, we'll try it, we'll track it, and then we'll try something different if it doesn't work. One of the biggest problems we have when we take on a school district, we try it once, and some of the people that have been with the district a long time, well, that didn't work. We can't do that again. No, that's not what we do. We'll put a spin on it and we'll try something different.
I wonder if maybe you can go back to see what type of food you were providing at the very beginning when you joined our district, and then how the food and service has evolved. Because I think what students are telling us, since we do not eat at the cafeteria every day, but they were super excited in the first months after we would change the vendors, and then as time progressed, they keep giving us a very similar feedback to what was given to us before we went with the change. So they say that the quantity of food that was highly desired is very low. So then when students come, then they basically are limited to pizza, burgers, and chicken nuggets. And then some still occasionally students say that they do get like spoiled milk, or pizza is overcooked or undercooked. Same thing with the burgers. So I'm just wondering, it's like, maybe there is some way of keeping the level of service at the same level as it was when you guys came to our
Sure. I
district.
mean, as the owner, you don't want to hear that it's gone downhill, but obviously it has, and telling us that it has, and it requires for us to go and do our due diligence by building. So we have to zero in on, is it preparation? Do they even know, has there been changeover in some of the staff in some of those buildings that maybe needs to be retrained? So that's the kind of stuff that we need to drill into. So as we move along with these discussions, I think it's important for us to zero in on, which school or schools is the biggest issue at the moment, and what is it? Is it the way it's prepared? Is it just not having enough variety, or is it not having the quantity, right? So if it's all three, then that's a problem, and it's a problem with the staff. If it's one of those issues, that's retraining. Right, so we certainly can drill down on that. That's what we do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions from the board? No. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Superintendent McLaughlin.
Our last presentation of the evening, who we canceled last meeting, is Mr. Corey Delgado, our Director of School Counseling and Student Wellness, here to present our portrait of a graduate.
Good evening. So typically this happens a lot earlier in the spring. We are talking about the class of 2024, even though we're really thinking about our class of 2025 right as we get ready to celebrate. So I'm just trying to move your brain into the right frame. So we're focused here tonight on the academic performance as it pertains to standardized testing and some of the college trends as we follow along. A little snapshot. Here we had 386 graduates, 91% of them went on to continue their education, and 90% of the 91% went on to four-year colleges. Here's a 5-year look back. I'll let that sit there for a minute. You'll see on the top half, the academic achievement is pretty consistently amazing. And you'll start to see, some dips and bumps in the bottom half when we start talking about college applications, acceptance rates, and things like that. And I'll unpack that as we move through. So a lot of our students, when they're with us, are accruing essential academic criteria. They accumulate this for their academic portfolio, for their transcripts as they get ready for college, and many of them just want that challenge, and they take AP courses. As Ms. McLaughlin shared with you, we had over 1,600 AP tests administered over the last week and a half. That's huge. That's a huge number. The class of 2024 took over 1,500. So just to show you, we're trending upwards. We are taking more AP classes. We are taking more AP tests. And these are the 21 courses we offer. Again, most of our students will choose to take the standardized test towards the end of the second semester, and here's how they did. This is, again, just the class of 2024, so you'll see the green bar is Montgomery High School, yellow is is the state, and blue is global, because AP tests are given internationally. And you'll see we do far and away better than our peers in the state and around the globe. The other half of our courses, something to be really proud of. Good opportunity to give a shout out to the counseling staff. To administer 1,600 assessments is no joke. So led by Jess Ritson and the whole crew, they work tirelessly to organize it all, to proctor it. And, when you're dealing with College Board, there's a lot of parameters and things that need to be followed, and they work really hard to make sure that all happens. And of course, our teachers, what they're providing for the kids throughout the year is awesome. Moving on to SAT, that is the more popular of the college readiness tests. Here's how our class of 2024 did. We had 337 seniors take the SAT. Again, we are Montgomery High School in green, state in yellow, and the total group is blue. That's how the College Board categorizes. Again, SAT is also given internationally. We're doing about 300 points better than our peers around the state. New Jersey in general does better than the states around the country. So if our school is doing among the best in the state that's doing the best, that's awesome. right? I know we've got some recent notoriety about being ranked number 4 for SAT results in the state among public schools, and the difference between number 4 and number 3 and number 2 and number 1 is a question. I mean, it's a slip. So really proud of what our students are accomplishing in the world of standardized testing. Here's a 5-year look back. So you'll see we stay consistently strong. But we are always looking back. We're looking for trends. We're looking to see if we dip. We're looking to see if we trend up and the reasons why. So this is not just data that we share with you. This is a high school cabinet. We'll sit around and wrestle with this and we'll analyze the results. The ACT, not quite as popular. We only had about 45 students in the class of 24 take the ACT. It's still universally and widely accepted by all universities and colleges, but around the country, it's for several reasons we don't need to get into now, not quite as popular as the SAT. However, results are similarly strong when our Montgomery High School students take the ACT. 5-year look back. Okay, so again, they are, So our students are doing that work. We're taking the standardized tests, and again, for most of them, it is building their profile, which they are going to show off to schools through the application process. We're going to get into the college game now. A couple of trends, and I call it the game because it is a game and it has changed quite a bit over the last 5 years. Here's some of the bigger variables that has caused the change, starting with test optional. So before 2021, there was a gradual trend for colleges and universities to go test optional. In 2021, students couldn't take the SAT, so everybody was forced into it. Most schools have stuck to test optional. The more selective schools are trending back towards test required. We chat up the college admissions officers when they come through Montgomery High School. We've had 90 colleges visit this fall. And just a little anecdote, about 14 years ago, I went through Montgomery High School and had oversight over the guidance department. And I was charged with, put Montgomery on the map. Like, how come colleges don't want, how come our kids gotta go to the Princeton College Fair or the Hillsborough College Fair? Why are these schools stopping at South Brunswick and not coming to Montgomery High School? We're on the map. I'm not taking the credit. I'm just saying I was cold calling colleges back then saying, why don't you come visit our students here at Montgomery High School? We'll set you up at a table during lunch. Now I say, I don't know how to squeeze you in. Like, that's what's happened over the last 15 years. So the Montgomery High School student is sought after for a lot of the reasons that you already know, and this is just evidence of that. So just a little anecdote there. Again, another big trend is the popularity of the Common App. So you combine the popularity of the Common App with test optional, and you have an explosion of applications, and it has an impact. It really does. Another trend that we're watching is the reemergence of the state and public universities. So the not just in New Jersey, but definitely in New Jersey, we are seeing students trending more towards the state and public university as opposed to the privates, and it could just be as simple as geography or return on investment. I can't really tell you the why, but it is happening. So here's what our students are doing in terms of application. We recommend to them 7 to 10 applications. You want to find your safe, fit, and reach schools and spread it out. Many of our students are going beyond 10 applications. We have plenty of students that are submitting 20, and we don't judge them. The unpredictability that has been a reality in terms of college acceptance, I think, is causing a lot of them to apply to more schools. And again, the test optional gives students a feeling of confidence that I may get into that school with GPA and extracurriculars. So naturally, you're going to see more applicants. Here's where we're applying. So this is the top 15 schools that the class of 24 applied to. NJIT made it to the list this year. That hasn't happened in a long time. The College of New Jersey jumped up 5 spots to number 4. So again, that supports the idea that students are staying closer to home. Students are going to the state and public universities. We were really happy to see our students really love applying to Pitt. They love Pitt. They've always loved Penn State. Pitt is growing, but if you look at our acceptance rates at Pitt and Penn State, it's awesome. We're not necessarily going there, but we're getting in. And so one of the things we did this year was we talked to some of the kids who did get accepted, and when they were contemplating, were they going to go there, were they not going to go there, what we learned that for places like Northeastern, Penn State, Pitt, they're getting in, but a lot of times they're getting into satellite campuses, so that might be a deterrent from actually going to the school. But boy, we sure love applying, and they love the Montgomery High School students, so you can tell by the acceptance rate there. Here's where we're actually going. So this is the top 15 schools that the class of 2024 enrolled in. Highlighted is Pitt, Purdue, and Indiana, because we just see them trending towards more and more popular. We're going to do some asking why, but they are known for strong business schools, strong engineering programs, so I imagine that is probably a big part of it. But this matters because, like I said, 90 schools come to visit Montgomery High School. I promise you, Purdue and Indiana and Pitt, they get the best rooms. They get good days, right? We know our kids want them, and we want to make sure they want our kids.
And they're coming. All of these that are on the list.
If they're not there, we're holding the spot. We're calling them. We say, what date do you want? But yeah, they're coming. And when we chat them up, it's good to know. I don't have a slide that says this, but when we talk about, what they look at the profile of the school, and they also look at, once our kids are on campus, how are they contributing, and do they stay, and do they finish? And the Montgomery kids contribute, stay, and finish. So they look at that. They keep all that kind of data. So good to know. You won't see that come up on a slide anywhere because it's more qualitative than quantitative. I wanted to take a look at Rutgers because Rutgers is clearly our home away from home, and it's been really interesting to watch what's happening there. Again, this is the class of 2024. Applications exploded, test optional, and they went to the Common App. Fortunately, our acceptance rate stayed pretty strong, but really interesting times over at Rutgers, really interesting times. So this year, we had, in the class of 2024, we had almost 260 students apply to Rutgers, which is by far, it was a record breaker for us. This year, I did take a peek at the class of 25, and we have 315 students that applied to Rutgers. So again, we're watching that trend, and we'll start asking some of the questions why. Rutgers was one of those places that was unpredictable. We had some students that weren't getting in that we saw were really qualified, and we were wondering why. We have hypotheses, but no facts. One of the hypotheses is some of the students are maybe even overqualified, so Rutgers might not be wasting what they think is wasting an admittance on them because they don't think they're actually going to come. Yield matters to colleges. They want to, whoever they accept, they want them to enroll, right? So it's a game, and it's fascinating to hear their end of it. No two schools are exactly the same when we talk to them, but we're doing our best to provide the right information for our kids and our families so they get where they want to be. A couple of things that are new for Montgomery High School. We're here talking about college, but the career exploration piece is important. We launched a new Lunch and Learn series this year. It was really popular. We're going to continue that next year. Hopefully next year when I come and present some of this information, we'll also be able to talk about the kids that did not graduate and go to college, but graduated and went right into the workforce. We're curious, what are they doing and how are they doing? I don't have any of that information now, but we're talking about how to use social media to maybe get some of that information. We enhanced our college prep services. We had 8 new college seminars for families and students this fall, 8 new additional to what we've had in the past, and they were well received and well attended. I always like to promote our school counseling website. We work really hard at keeping it current and chock full of really good, useful information. So just a little reminder that that's there. And here's just a little fun thing that Ms. Pino had posted during our acceptance day. Andrew, I don't know if this is going to make it play or not. This could be.
Do you want me to play?
Yeah.
Okay, you ready?
So
This is definitely more than Rutgers.
So lots of pride when the kids get to wear their new colors to school, and I will tell you, it felt different this spring in the counseling office. I think our students had attainable, realistic college goals, and I think they hit them. You know, I'm generalizing, but it felt different this year than it did last year. Last year there was more just worry and stress and why not, and this year it's more, hey, let's ring the bell and spike the football kind of stuff. So. It felt a lot better this spring. I know I'm always the optimist, but it genuinely did. So good for our kids, good for your kids. I don't know if you have any questions.
Just one question, because I asked this question.
This day would come.
Thanks.
I thought there was an ending slide, so that was it.
I asked this question last year, and that was about tracking whether our kids are graduating, right? I think we've talked about it for years now. We have wonderful success showing our kids where they started. We'd be interested to see how they finished, right? So is that something you're planning on doing?
You did, yeah. You brought it up last year. To be honest with you, it was just not an easy answer on how to find that out. So it's not like there's just a clearinghouse that we can go to see where our kids are in 4 and 5 years. So in talking to some other districts that are trying to do similar things, because that's useful. I mean, that's really what we want to know. Like, we're glad you made it there. How'd you do once you got there, right? That's really what we want to know. And they're going out to social media. They're starting LinkedIn pages to gather alumni and collecting feedback that way. So that's what we're looking to launch next year. But no, I do not have any more information about the class of 24 or 21 than I did last year.
In one of your slides, you said something about online tracking. What does that mean? So the college applicants, the colleges are tracking their online activities? Is that what you're saying? In one of the slides, I saw that, where you had...
I'm sorry, it's not up there.
When you said that you went into Navigance and you could track how many kids so far have applied to Rutgers this year.
Yeah, so we get most of our college data from Naviance, so keep that in mind. It's only as good as the kids give it to us. You know, we are pretty vigilant about having them update not just where they applied, but where they got in and where they're enrolling. I'm not sure what the question was, but
No, I'm just wondering, when kids apply for colleges, nowadays in the outside world, there's a lot of things that are happening about their activities online, about their support to certain things, and is that affecting their college admissions?
Well, I don't know. I will tell you, I think some of the smaller schools that have a more manageable admissions office might do a social media dive on an applicant. I don't know. But I do know that for the larger schools that are only able to accept 10% of their applicants, like, it is a beast to figure that out. And I would imagine, as much as they want to have an interview with the candidate, as much as they want to look a little bit deeper, it's hard to manage for them. So I don't know that their online activity has anything to do with their college admissions. I couldn't say that for sure.
For any last question, I probably have some answer. I think I searched some data website indicating Montgomery graduates, their survival rate through the 4-year college is more than 90%. It's pretty high. And I know a lot of our students went to Rutgers, and across the board, all the top leading schools, usually the first year retention is between about 8 to 10% of students will drop out from the first year to the second year. So that's another indicator for us to think about when we sending our kids to high school. We really want to incorporate higher ed expertise advice, what they are looking for, and then we can better prepare our students to survive through the 4-year college there. Yeah.
Appreciate that.
I have one question. You had 91% as the number for attending, and you said out of that 91%, 90 is to 4-year. I guess it's a twofold question. I feel like that's a decrease from numbers that I've seen in the last, say, 4 years. I think that probably has something to do with the amount of college and career or the career standpoint of this, but maybe, you know, could you shed some light on that, and if that, it was a decrease, and what that 9% is doing?
I couldn't tell you what they're doing. It is something we noticed. It is a smaller class, so 383 compared to, you know, what, 420s and 440s prior. So, you know, a couple of students choosing career over college could bring you from 94% to, I don't know how many, more than a couple, but brings you from 94 to 91. But we hover around that 91 to 94%, continuing their education. That part's pretty consistent, but it is a little bit down. I can't tell you why. I don't know.
Is there it goes more again for the tracking of what happens to them after, you know, they leave us. So of that 9%, you know specifically though, which students have you been able to reach out to them through their alumni? You know, I mean, if it was a gap year, did they end up taking and deciding to go and start, you know, the next year or what?
I don't have that information. I would only be speculating. So no, I don't have it organized or like in any kind of valid way.
Is there a way for us to communicate with our alum after leaving?
So yes, I mean really, it's almost like where people have been successful is through social media.
Yeah.
So that's where they've been successful. Like Dr. Wang was sharing, when the college admissions folks comes through, they know the Montgomery kids, and they know they'll have data on the Montgomery kids, and we're thinking that's maybe where we go as well. Like, can you share that with us, how our kids are doing in your schools? So that's another thing that we're going to poke, but I don't have anything to share with you tonight about that.
Corey, do you happen to know these kids, when they accept the offer, do they have defined major or undefined?
Depends on where they're going.
Do they share that with school?
Some do, but it's usually an intended major, you know, and sometimes they will declare and let us know. So we encourage to get as much information as we can, but again, our data is really reliant on the kids. They've already gotten in. They're on to their thing, and then we're chasing them down to populate Naviance for us with all the accurate information. So there's room for error in there. But yeah, we can, I could pull majors. We haven't done that to see what they're majoring in. I mean, I don't have that to share with you.
That work in higher ed, and then we've seen that the student come in with undefined major.
Yeah.
It usually take longer time for them to graduate. Yes, if they have a clear college goal and they working towards that, it's faster.
Yes.
I mean, faster on track.
Again, that speaks to why we're having our career, we're enhancing that career exploration part. We know our students have college goals, but they're going there without career goals. And so that, like you said, often leads to a 5th year, a 6th year, or maybe not completing, right? Because they don't have that goal behind them. And we tell them the goal can change, but you should go in with a goal. And a lot of them we think, are choosing colleges more based on career than brand, but I don't have any data to support that. I think that's a lot of where our conversation is with families and students. We're talking about, you know, why you want to go there and really digging into that. And you know, most of the conversations that we feel some synergy with the families. Like, we're going there because it also has the program that my daughter wants to study. So that's nice.
Continuing on college, I wanted to ask some questions about APs.
Okay.
So we have 21 that are being offered. You said how many were given? 1,600?
For the class for a year ago was a little over 1,500, and this year was a little over 1,600.
So that's being administered during the 25 season right now?
Yeah, that's
so
not just
not
seniors.
just seniors.
No, of course.
Okay. And because I'm thinking to myself, wow, how many APs are these kids actually taking if there's only 300 and something of them, and they're taking 1,500, they're taking 5 APs in their senior year? I hope not. That's a lot.
So out of the 600 or so students that took APs this year, around 275 were seniors.
Okay. And so do you have an average, how many APs does like the average student take?
I don't.
And like, I'm thinking whether or not we have a concentration, you may not have any of this information, but it's something that I'm really curious about.
Yeah.
If there's a concentration in the number of APs that are student or a group of students that are only taking, say, 1 or 2 APs and not the 5 or 6 over their 4 years of high school, what are those? What are those courses? So, and how can we maybe encourage and get more students taking some, I mean, we have some, I know that, I think Ms. Pino has, I would say it a million times too, I really would love to see AP Psych. I know lots of kids would love to see that. Some things that are, some things that are a little bit more attainable for the whole gamut of the Montgomery student population. And I'm curious about where our concentration of APs is. It a lot of STEM and
Yes. Bio, stats, AP Calc.
yeah. I mean, obviously we don't do as well in world language. That's par for the course in the U.S. versus the rest of the world. But you could see we looked real quick at those 3 slides you showed.
Yeah.
It's high in the STEM, and I wonder if the concentration is only among a small group of students that are taking a lot of APs.
Yeah, I could pull enrollment for you if you wanted to see like enrollment. So you're just seeing on these slides, you're just going to see average scores, but I could pull enrollment for you if you wanted to see how many students were enrolling in the respective APs, how many students were taking multiple APs. We could break that down.
Any other questions for Mr. Delgado?
I have a very quick question. So, in speaking with parents from other districts, I've heard that, like some of my friends told me that their kids in other districts were able to have dual enrollment credits throughout high school, and they were able to earn so many credits that they saved on even like 1 full year in college. What that allowed them to do is to not take time to take the electives or the basic courses, but they were able to take double major without really a big strain on themselves. So I asked my son to look into the dual enrollment program at high school, and it doesn't seem like our high school offers that many courses. Is that because this is a fairly new program in our district, and are we going to expand that?
Yeah. Great question. So yeah, last year was our launch, and I would say it was a soft launch, and it was not met with much interest, which was interesting. So we have less than 30 students right now taking advantage of our dual enrollment program. We were strategic in what we offered. So our AP courses are not offered dual enrollment right now because students can already receive college credit for that. So we were intentional about offering dual enrollment. And again, we needed to see, what does this mean for a teacher? What does this mean for a student? How is this partnership with Seton Hall going to actually work? And that is who our partnership is with, Seton Hall. So we are looking at expanding a couple of courses for next year, but right now we got to take a closer look at the why. So a few of the kids, we do know some people that it's a budget-minded decision. As Ms. Vilak shared, students could get a whole semester's worth of credit done in their junior and senior year, even with the courses that we offer. We were strategic about the world language courses because isn't that nice if you're going to go, you don't have to maybe take that as an elective in college. So we have a wide array of world language courses. We thought that would be really popular. It wasn't. So we have to take a look at why.
I wonder if that's because it may not have been well advertised, and maybe it wasn't advertised in time for parents to become familiar and take action. But maybe this is the second year.
Always, yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, always, yeah. So like our senior English class, honors English, so we offered it at the honors level and mostly in world language. We even have an art ceramics course that's for dual enrollment, and senior English 12 honors. And so you can actually register for dual enrollment up through October. So we were in those actual classrooms explaining to the students, like, you're in this class, you're taking it anyway, and this is an opportunity. It just wasn't worth the $400, or I don't know.
It's incredible, because I did not realize the benefit of those dual enrollment classes until my friends told me, we did not have to pay for a full year of basic college classes, and instead my kid is enrolling in dual major without really taking a heavy load of classes.
Yeah.
So it's
So this year during the scheduling process for our juniors and seniors, the counselors in their one-on-one meetings were talking it up a lot more. Last year was like an intentional slow start last year. Let's see what we're getting into. We did talk it up more with the students as they were registering for courses. We said, you're taking Honors French 4, would you be interested in dual enrollment? Because only certain teachers meet the qualifications to be a dual enrollment teacher. You need to have certain degrees and credentials. So there will be some French 4 honors course sections that are not eligible for dual enrollment and some that are, so because of the teacher in the classroom. So we did, we felt like we got more interest this year as we talked it up to juniors and seniors. We'll see if they decide to go ahead and register and pay for it. I don't know. So, but yeah, it's gonna be a slow grow, but we're not giving up on it.
Any other questions for Mrs. Delgado? Hearing none, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
We'll now move on to committee representative reports. First up, MTEA.
Subbing in for Mike Rizzoli is VP Dave Gordon.
Good evening. This month, the MTA proudly continued its tradition of community support through one of our most anticipated annual events. Our Music from the Heart production of Once Upon a Mattress was a tremendous success. With the incredible collaboration of our dedicated staff, retirees, students, and the MHS Instrumental Music Parents Association, the show was a true testament to the power of teamwork and passion. Months of preparation went into bringing this performance to life, with volunteers contributing their time and talents in singing, dancing, sewing, painting, scaffolding, and more. Our program covered design contests, engaged the talents of students throughout VES, LMS, and Orchard Hill, with an art display featuring all the submissions. We earned over $10,000, all of which is being contributed toward the MTEA and the Instrumental Music Parents Association scholarship funds. This cherished tradition began in 2001, and over the years, 23 performances have taken place. To date, the MTEA has awarded more than $165,000 in scholarships to students who exemplify excellence both in and out of the classroom. This year, the MTEA will be awarding 5 deserving students $1,500 scholarships each, which will be presented on June 4th. In addition, MTEA recently wrapped up its Spiritware drive, which was another great success. Nearly all the collected items were distributed thanks to the generosity and enthusiasm of the community. Thank you to everyone who contributed to making these events meaningful and impactful.
Do you have any board member or delegate representative reports? Board member?
Yes, we do. Somerset County, just go to my agenda here. Somerset County School Board Association meeting took place on May 8th. It was an exciting evening. We had our very own superintendent attending and recognizing the Somerset County Teacher of the Year. Stephanie was present and introduced herself and shared some of her journey over the last 12 months? Almost. Yeah. So it was a very, very nice event. Actually, first time we had to move it to the bigger room. So quite a good outcome there. Also, a few of our members were recognized. Maria Spina was recognized with new board member certificate. Patrick and Cookie were recognized with the school board member certificate. So it was a very exciting time for our school district. I think next meeting is coming up in October. And also I think in March we will have, again, some recognition for it.
And you were recognized as the first VP for the next 2 years for Somerset County School Board.
I was very excited to be nominated.
With the correct name.
Yes, and I was introduced as Anya Pila, just for the record.
Any other board member or delegate representative reports?
I have a NJSBA Delegate Assembly report. So NJSBA Delegate Assembly was held on May 10th. There were 3 resolutions presented for discussion and a vote. Resolution 1 was introduced by Woodbury Board of Education and it proposed a policy change to formally recognize scholastic esports as an interscholastic activity eligible for varsity letters. The goal is to enhance student engagement, promote equity, and expand post-secondary opportunities, including scholarships. Woodbury has already begun awarding varsity letters to 4 esports teams participating in Garden State esports. The resolution aligns with New Jersey statutes, which allows but does not require school district to award varsity letters for school-sponsored interscholastic extracurricular activities involving competition with other schools. Esports are rapidly growing, with over 100 New Jersey school districts already awarding varsity letters in this area. Supporters highlight the benefits of esports, such as improvement of social interaction, emotional well-being, and academic motivation. This resolution was met with overwhelming support, and it passed with 86 approval votes. The Resolution 2 was proposed by the Franklin Township Board of Education, and it sought to amend school nurse certification requirements by removing the current bachelor degree mandate. Instead, it recommended that school nurses be required to hold a registered nurse RN license and complete 3 school-specific courses within 18 months of employment. This proposal responds to a growing school nurse shortage in New Jersey, where 1/3 of schools report insufficient nurse staffing, and the state faces a projected shortfall of 25,000 nurses by 2023. This resolution sparked a dynamic discussion about concerns about narrowing standards and safety risks of hiring underqualified medical staff to care for students. The NJSBA Resolution Subcommittee recommended approval of modified language that balances staffing flexibility with student health needs. The goal is to broaden access without compromising care quality. This resolution passed with a very narrow majority vote. The last resolution was presented by the Kittané Board of Education, and it proposed state excused absences for students participating in skilled trade activities, supporting career exploration without academic penalties. The resolution highlights the vital role of skilled trades in building a diverse, self-reliant workforce and calls for equitable treatment alongside college-bound students who already receive excused absences. This resolution passed with nearly fully unified support. Any questions?
Any other reports? Hearing none, moving on to board committee reports. Assessment Curriculum and Instruction Committee, Board Member Dow.
Good evening. I apologize in advance for the length of my report this month. We covered a lot. So we met on May 2nd, both virtually and in person. First, we had the special education discuss a request to establish MD, which was multiply disabled classrooms throughout the district, so district-wide, and an emotional regulation impairment class at the high school. This comes after the evaluation of the district programs that are in place currently. The department would like to be able to provide more specialized programs to meet the individual needs of our students. It also shared that there will be a General Montgomery Special Education Parent Advisory Group meeting on May 21st, where all of this will be presented to parents. They also shared that students in grades 5 through 12 whose parents gave consent were administered the BESS-3, and that stands for the Behavioral and Emotional Screening System, 3rd edition. The BESS 3 is a universal screener used to identify students who might benefit from support or interventions. This screener helps us identify and plan supports for students who might be struggling with internalizing self-regulation or overall adjustment to the school. I think most impressive is that school counselors and case managers can meet with individual students whose results indicate that follow-up is needed on a case-by-case basis and in real time, which I thought was really effective. Data presented at the meeting included the percentage of students who participate, which tapers as they get older, with 83% in the LMS, 74% in the UMS, 63% in the high school. 13% of LMS students who were screened required follow-up, 16% of UMS students required follow-up, and 9% of the high school students who were screened required follow-up. Next, we heard about a dance program that will begin at the high school, added to the program of studies for the 2025-2026 school year. This comes based on a requirement by the New Jersey standards in the arts area. This program will be standards-based and integrated into the school curriculum. The new dance program will cover various genres. The program will be offered to middle and high school students as part of the curriculum. The district will add the dance survey class to the program of studies for both the UMS and the high school. It's aimed to fulfill the state's requirement and meet the long-standing request of students for dance classes. A recent opportunity to hire a dance certified teacher will allow the district to implement the approved dance curriculum starting this fall. New Jersey Student Learning Assessment, the NJSLA, which we heard about earlier. Testing began April 28th, and the window is open until May 23rd. The makeup window is from May 27th to the 30th. Grades 3 through 9 are tested in ELA and math. Grades 5, 8, and 11 are tested in science. Results typically become available in late August and early September. AP, which we've also heard about, advanced placement window is from May 5th to May 16th. And then we opened up a large math discussion. So Ms. Borland shared information about our STAR Math tool, which is an assessment tool that reviews the various data points, including scaled score, percentile rank, and student growth percentile. Ms. Borland analyzed students in Math 3, Math 4, Math 5, and Math 6, and Math 6 and 6 integrated. She isolated the students in the top 90th percentile in the nation and determined the percentage of those students whose grade point average exceeded 50%. In the 2023-24 school year, 81% of grade 3 students in the 90th percentile demonstrated growth exceeding 50%. 64% of grade 5 students in the 90th percentile demonstrated growth exceeding 50%. 76% of grade 5 students in the 90th percentile demonstrated growth exceeding 50%, and 86% of all 6th grade students in the 90th percentile demonstrated growth. In the fall to winter of the 2024-25 year, 76% of Math 3 students in the 90th percentile demonstrated growth, 71% of Math 4 students in the 90th percentile demonstrated growth exceeding 50%, 70% of Math 5 students in the 90th percentile, and 83% of all 6th grade students in the 90th percentile all demonstrated growth. This data demonstrates that our top math students are not experiencing a ceiling effect. A follow-up question was posed by an ACI committee member. The question was, what are the current pathways for students to complete AP Physics A, B, and C before the fall of senior year, college application deadline, under the existing middle school math program? It was clarified that at the high school, only AP Physics C is offered to students, not AP Physics A and B. It was also shared with the committee that in speaking with the high school science supervisor, AP Physics C is predicted on students' physics background rather than their math background. The majority of students enrolled in AP Physics are either in grades 11 or in grade 12. AP Physics 1, is algebra-based. In the 2024-2025 school year, it marked the first year that grade 9 students were enrolled in AP Physics 1. Students concurrently enrolled in Algebra 2 or those who have completed Algebra 2 prior to the 9th grade year are eligible for enrollment in AP Physics 1 as 9th graders. There is no honors mathematics requirement for AP Physics 1. The students currently enrolled in Algebra 2 and concurrently enrolled in AP Physics 1 are performing really, really well. There will be more students enrolled in AP Physics 1 for the 2025-26 school year as a result of the success of students and the broadening of requirements. Finally, AP Biology and AP Chemistry, as well as all biology and chemistry courses at the high school, are not impacted by the changes made to the elementary and middle school mathematics program. A follow-up question was also posed by an ACA committee member, and the question was, what are the current pathways for students to complete AP Calculus BC, AP Statistics before the fall of senior year, the college application deadline, under the existing middle school math program? It was communicated that in the high school program of studies, students who aspire to be enrolled in an AP Calculus course their junior year, that's the 11th grade year, are provided multiple pathways. The 9th grade freshman class enrolled in Algebra 2 or Algebra 2 honors, depending on their performance, can be enrolled in either pre-calculus or pre-calculus honors their sophomore year, which is their 10th grade year. Depending upon their performance in their pre-calculus honors course in 10th grade as juniors or 11th graders, they can be eligible for AP Calculus AB, AP Calculus BC, AP Statistics, or other math courses. High school students who wish to take statistics can take a college prep level, either their 11th or 12th grade, junior or senior year, after successfully completing Algebra 2 with a 70% or higher score. Students who wish to take AP Statistics in their junior year or senior year with an 85 in statistics, an 80 in pre-calculus, 80 in Algebra 2 honors, or 90 in Algebra 2. Almost done. High school students can elect to take AP Calculus and AP Statistics concurrently so long as they meet the requirements, the prerequisites. The AC Committee was reminded that AP Calculus BC was previously discussed during the March 7th ACI meeting, which are noted in the notes. It was also explained that a middle school math progression chart exists on the website in order to provide the formula scores needed to identify the appropriate grade level course. There are only 9 courses. In comparison, the math offerings at the high school, which are 25, are not grade level dependent. The high school program of studies identifies prerequisites that are dependent upon a preceding course's completion and performance. A student's transcript will demonstrate a personalized course selection based on their interests and post-secondary education focus. On this transcript, you may see students take multiple math courses in one school year. In addition, there is no diagram because students are offered various opportunities that allow for them to define their own personal pathway. A clarification about AP advanced placement offerings at the high school was provided to the committee in response to inaccurate information posed by members of the community. In the last 3 years, no AP courses have been removed. AP Physics 1 has been added. AP Seminar, AP Research, and AP Seminar will be new for the 2025-26 school year. Finally, high school students who have exhausted course offerings in any curricular area have the opportunity to apply to take a course at an area college or university. If the student is accepted and it fits into their schedule, the students are afforded the opportunity to attend. Thank you for listening. Questions or comments?
I'll save my comments towards the end because I think I did ask a couple of questions, but it wasn't documented there, so I can ask towards the end.
Tried my best. There was a lot.
Thank you. I know, yes.
All right, we'll now move on to our...
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I do have.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Regarding, and this might, Superintendent Black might know this, but the additional MD class for VES, LMS, UMS, and the high school, does that mean we currently have an MD class at OHES?
We may or may not. It depends on the population.
On the needs.
I would have to ask.
Yeah. So because it
LMS.
It currently, right. But this would be an expansion of that program.
Correct.
And the ERI, I know we recently put an ERI classroom in OHES, this would be just for the high school, you were saying?
Yes, for next year.
For next year. Is the staffing for this already in place?
Yes.
So, and like
So
BCBA?
the ND classes, a lot of them are LLD classes right now, so they're just changing names based on the population. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, hearing none. Moving on to Operations, Facilities, and Finance Committee. Board Member Phelan.
The Operations, Finance, and Facilities Committee met on Tuesday, May 13th. Mr. Andrew Italiano provided a summary of the finalized district budget for the 25-26 school year. The budget has been reviewed and formally approved at the district level. All required adjustments will now be submitted to the county for final authorization. Mr. Italiano noted that surplus funds will be strategically reinvested into staff salaries and improvements to school facilities, ensuring long-term benefits for both personnel and infrastructure. Mr. Italiano presented the draft RFP for selecting a new audit firm. Committee members were asked to carefully review the document and provide feedback. In addition, members were requested to confirm when they are available to participate in the interview process with prospective auditing firms. He emphasized the urgency of finalizing a new contract before the current audit firm's agreement expires, underscoring the importance of a smooth transition to maintain financial oversight and compliance. Mr. Italiano reviewed the cafeteria financial analysis, focusing on the district's current agreement with Maceo Food Services. The board review of the food services is prompted by continuous concerns about food quality, quantity, and variety. Mr. Italiano recommended extending the existing contract through December, during which time improvements are anticipated under the leadership of a newly appointed executive chef. Ms. Mary McLaughlin, our superintendent, addressed concerns regarding the district's continued participation in the National School Lunch Program. She explained that shifting to charterless was a response to the district's need to access federal resources and food distribution services during COVID. Participation in the National School Lunch Program was essential for ensuring meal delivery and eligible students during COVID and remains critical due to the continued high number of students qualifying for free and reduced price meals. Exiting the program will require a comprehensive financial analysis to minimize financial losses and to prevent any disruption in support for families in need. Ms. Michelle Dreamer, the Director of Special Ed Services, provided a clear and informative overview of the X-8 reimbursement application process. She explained what criteria make the district eligible and clarified the distinction between in-district and out-of-district placements as they relate to reimbursement thresholds. Ms. Dreamer also addressed committee members' questions regarding the required documentation and submission procedures, offering clarity on the necessary steps to complete a compliant application. She is currently finalizing the X-8 submission for the current year. The committee extended an invitation for Ms. Dreamer to return to a future meeting following the state's approval of the reimbursement amount to present the results of the current year submission. Any questions?
Hearing none, we'll move on to Policy and Communications Committee. Board Member Williker.
Thank you. We met on May 8th. We reviewed quite a few policies. We had some questions in regards to those policies. There was a policy 5465 that was scheduled to be abolished, and it's an early graduation. Superintendent and I decided to have a conversation with Strauss Esme to better understand the reason for the abolishing of the policy. Also, there's a collective bargaining and contract approval policy 0176. I requested that we review that further as there is currently a policy that's also aligned with nepotism that's presented, and I would like to make sure that we're not duplicating policies. We've done the wellness check. I reached out to Strauss Esme requesting some support. So hopefully we'll get to address some of the gaps that we've had identified. More on the policy 2435, NJSIAA, random testing. That policy also, I don't know if you recall, we reviewed a random testing policy in the past. So once again, we do have a meeting scheduled for Thursday with Strauss Esme to address some of my questions around the policies and the abolishing. So a few of them we'll be approving, and some of them will have to follow up in the upcoming meeting. We also reviewed the National School Public Relations Association follow-up communication survey. A lot of you probably received it. The district once again partnered with the National School Public Relations, and we did a follow-up communication survey. The survey opened on April 10th and closed on May 2nd. The superintendent is expecting to have results in 3 to 4 weeks. There were 375 parents that participated, 77 staff members, and 9 community members who responded to the survey. There's also some changes being done to the MTSD website. The company that provides our website coverage was purchased by another company called Final Site. And they have a lot more bells and whistles, so we're working through finalizing the transition to the new platform, which I think will be a welcoming change. Some of the additional topics that were discussed during our committee, if you are a community member and you reached out to the Board of Education, you should see a new response to your email where we're thanking you for writing and giving you some additional messaging from the board. Also, I posed the question in regards to the fact that I would like the tech director to take a look at the security of the Board of Education email, as today we're not getting them directly. They're first being reviewed and then distributed to the board. I requested that we have that changed, so I'm awaiting response. Also, board retreat that came up, and I think Maria is coming up with some few dates, so we're looking forward to having a board retreat, which hopefully will be scheduled in June. And also, I would like to share with you that I'm putting together Board of Education member handbook that I'd like to distribute during our retreat for your review and acknowledgement. I think it's a tool for us to have a comprehensive view of our roles, responsibilities, information sharing. All of those pieces will be included for your review. We've discussed Mashio's situation, where we are from a contractual perspective, and as you saw, they did a fabulous job presenting to us today. And as I mentioned, there will be a follow-up with Strauss Esme, as I would like to continue a conversation with Strauss Esme around the policy and how do we continue improving the language that we have in place today. Thank you. Any questions?
The first question I have is about the National School Public Relations Survey. The 375 parents, I actually think that's probably a decent amount, sadly. It's very hard to get people to respond to surveys. I think the 77 for staff is a bit low, and the 9 community members is like always a bonus to get people who don't have. But have you found this is something that we've done over the years? Is that an increase or a decrease?
We're going to find out when we go through the results. I have the results somewhere from last year. I just couldn't find them, but they're going to have them updated for me anyway, so we'll have that in the next 2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm very curious to see what the changes and what the difference of perspective is possibly. And then the other question was regarding your member handbook. Thank you for taking it upon yourself to do that. That's a huge undertaking. If you've already started working on it, could you please share a draft with Patrick and I, preferably before next Tuesday, so that when we are setting the agenda, we can figure out how to best incorporate it as our planning meetings are coming up.
My pleasure.
Thank you. The board retreat will be held on June 19th, and time is it's probably going to be 4 to 7, but I know Ms. Nargan said that she could not be here until 5, and so I'm waiting to see if we can shift that. I've reached out to find out, and hopefully we'll hear back as soon as I have confirmation. I'll send out the final notice, but please put it down on your calendars because that will be the date. My 3 minutes.
Well done.
It works.
Wrap it up.
Trust me. And then one more thing regarding the email. Thank you for the very robust wording for the revision of a automatic reply. Just to put it out there to the public that the Board of Ed email address does get eventually forwarded to the 9 of us. After, if anything would go there that would need to be protected by HIPAA laws or anything like that, we would need to, I'm sure, make sure legally that is not sent to us for personnel confidentiality, student confidentiality, things of that nature. If anyone from the public wants to ensure that an email gets to all 9 of us immediately, you can do so by using our first initial last name at mtsd.us, and you can send that to all 9 of us at once and not go through the board email address as well.
Yeah, so that just actually makes me wonder if it's okay for a community member to address all of us individually and the email comes directly to us.
I would say as long as we have it CC'd to the Board of Ed, or if we would forward it then to the Board of Ed email address so that we all received a copy of it if it wasn't addressed to all 9 of us.
Now, my point is that if it's okay for the community members to address all of us in the same email and it goes directly to us, what's preventing the Board of Ed email, which also has all of us, to come directly to us? That's my question.
Yeah, I think their filters were put on. I think, if I remember correctly, they were put on because of spam issues, and we also had individual board members responding without the full board knowledge.
Or
So I think-
sometimes more than 5 board members were on it, and then
Yeah.
you're conducting board business.
You're conducting board business. So I think that's why the filters were put on. But again, it's something we can address. If we can alleviate those issues, it's something we can address.
I've actually had this conversation with some of the school districts, local school districts, and none of them have that restraint, right? And part of the reason I'm bringing this up is because we had pretty intense discussions over the budget, and when we got home from the meeting, we received a lot more feedback from the community emails because we didn't see them right away, right? So we should display those things real time, and I just don't understand why we would want to prevent us from getting the feedback from the community right away. Like I said, to your point, if the email can be sent to all of us and it doesn't get filtered, what's the difference if we have it under one? So that was my request.
I know that there was the day of the board meeting, there were some emails that came between 12:39, I think, and 4 p.m., but then there was a lot more that came between 4 p.m. and 10 p.m. So the person's not at the office, so everyone received them before 8 a.m. the next morning, so it was within 24 hours.
Yeah, but the point was that it was after the meeting and the emails pertain to the meeting. So that's why, to Anna's point, it would be nice to receive the emails from the community members in real time. That's all.
You just said that some of those emails were coming in as the meeting was going on.
Yes,
I don't
up to
think we would
10
have
p.m.
been sitting here reading our email anyway, then, personally. I mean, it would be nice to get them sooner, but it's a person who's working at the hours that they are at work. It's 8 to 4 or whatever, and so anything after 4 p.m. on a Friday, we wouldn't get until Monday. And it's how it goes with this particular email
And
address.
typically it's checked like 4 to 5 times during the day. That was a board meeting day, so the person was very busy doing the board meeting things, and so didn't get to it till the morning.
Yeah, like I said, my comment was more about the fact that, we shouldn't have the filter on the email. If it can be sent directly, it should be sent directly at any point. So that was really the purpose of that example I used. So, thank you.
Question about the handbook. So the handbook you were talking about, is that containing information that is covered in new board member orientations, or were you thinking about something different?
So it's actually information across multiple functions, right? So how does the board communicate with the community? To the point you were making, how can they respond? What's considered a quorum? The description of the board, the roles and responsibility, the voting. When you vote yes, what does it mean? When you vote no, what does it mean? When you abstain, what does it mean? Information about how we manage the board, what's the expectation from the board, right? How do we expect to be addressing the community? Just a bunch of things I've collected over the last 3 years here that I've captured as potential, I don't want to use the word gaps, but something that we don't have easy access to. We always have to reference back to NJSBA, which is a pretty extensive website. There's a lot of information in there, so I consolidated it into some of the things that I felt were important, especially as we have new board members coming on, right? We can hand over the handbook, and that can give them a good start at understanding some of our rules, responsibilities. What's a committee? How does a committee get managed? Who picks a committee? All of those things are kind of consolidated into that handbook. But I will share it with you. It's not complete yet, but I will share it with you guys so you can take a look at it.
Any other questions? All right, HRC met on May 14th, 2025. As usual, most of the matters we discussed were confidential. 2 matters I can discuss were both VES and UMS are involved in searches for their next vice principals. We had over 90 applicants, and the superintendent is expecting to make a recommendation soon and have them present at the June 17th board meeting. Second item we discussed were substitute rates for the 25-26 school year, which are on the agenda, and are letter 4.1, letter O. That's it. Any other questions? Comments? Keep it short, absolutely. All right, at this time, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes of April 29th, 2025 executive session and April 29th, 2025 business meeting. Mr. Taliano.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, sorry. It's been properly moved and second. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, Mr. Taliano, roll call, please.
Sure. Dr. Wang? Ms. Dallin?
Yes.
Ms. Mina?
Yes.
Ms. Spilak?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Ms. Lincoln Jernigan?
Yes.
Ms. Dargan?
Yes.
Mr. Todd?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you. At this time, the board recognizes the correspondence to the board. Action agenda items, public comment. The Board of Education welcomes and encourages input from the public. Members of the public are allotted 1 opportunity to address the board regarding the action agenda items only, for up to a maximum of 3 minutes per speaker. All comments must be directed to the board. Before you make your comment, please state your full name and address, and enter both on the Chromebook provided. Being mindful of privacy rights regarding students, board employees, and board members, and to avoid any liability on the part of the speaker, the board discourages defamatory and discourteous remarks. The public comment portions of the meeting are not structured as question and answer sessions, but rather are offered as opportunities for the public to share their thoughts with the board. The board may need to refer an issue to the superintendent if the issue has not been handled through the appropriate chain of command, usually starting at the school level. Responses may be provided at the end of this session.
I'm Balaji Agneshwaran from 300 Berkeley Avenue.
Just want to know which action item you're referring to.
About Maceo food. Can I talk about Maceo food? I can't talk about food. Food. Mashios. Mashios. No, we can talk about that.
It's 3.3.
Their contracts.
Yeah, we just want to give one thing. Meaning, the thing is that I'm a big group, and everybody, we didn't know about this time, and I messaged them. The one thing that, could you please add more vegetarian option for the next year, if you suggest it? And next number two, that I know you addressed in the past, but a few months ago, there were in VES there were chips sold that were beyond expiry date. And please, if you could, the parents had just messaged that please tell the board that there should be some policy or some check that please don't sell expired foods to kids. And that's the only one small request. So thank you.
I just want to speak to the one comment. I appreciate the comment about the chips. I actually went over there personally and I expanded on their process, how they check things in. They have the boxes that are dated. The process needed to be improved on how they check the ones that are on the line, and I took care of that myself personally. So thank you for your feedback.
Any other public comments on action items? Going once, going twice. All right. Public comments on action agenda items are now closed. At this time, I entertain a motion to accept action agenda items 1.0 through 4.10.
So moved. Second.
Been properly moved to accept agenda items 1.10 through 4.10. Any questions on the motion?
I have some questions. 2.4. I see some students are being approved without tuition amount. Is it because they're still pending placement? Some out-of-district students.
Grade 10, 11, 11, 12, the incoming students that would be tuition paid.
No, the 2.4.
Determined yet? Yeah.
She basically, my new secretary copied exactly what you folks did last year. I do have the rates.
Okay.
They're state generated. They're on our website from the budget software generates them. We just use your resolution that you used last year.
So these are incoming students, or they're going out of district?
This is out of district.
It says out of district, so that means they're going to a particular school from.
No, they're students that don't live in our district whose parents have completed a application to come to our school.
They've been accepted.
And they've been accepted to our school, and the parents paying the tuition.
So whatever our tuition is what the tuition.
Correct.
The board approved. Correct.
I thought they were going out of district.
Non-residents, right.
That's
That's
non-resident.
Non-resident.
And is there a reason we're not putting the tuition rate in here? Just curious.
Yeah, like I said just a moment ago, I used the same resolution you folks used last year. So this is my first May meeting, so I had, my point of reference was your May agenda from last year. So if you want that improved, next May, if I'm here, I'll put the rate on.
But can we find out what the tuition rate is?
Not on the spot at 10:18 at night, I can't do that.
I think that the rates for the tuition reimbursements were on the agenda last month. So we approved the rates for next year.
Which is how you folks did things last year, and that's what I did. That is, you're absolutely right, they were on April.
Correct.
You're
That's
correct,
why-
you are correct.
That's why it says board approved rate.
So 2.12, NJ principal evaluation for professional learning observation instruments. There's no money involved in this? Okay.
Which one are you referring to? 2.1. I usually don't speak to the twos.
No, those are our evaluation tools. We just have to have the board approved every year.
This is a boilerplate.
That's the
resolution
template that
2.1.
we use to evaluate administrators.
Just a curious question. One more. 3.5. This is employee assistance program agreement with Penn Medicine. What is this?
That's for when we have to do evaluations for various reasons, and that is our doctor record. Somebody needs to be sent out, somebody needs to be tested, things of that nature.
So EAP is a service that we provide to our staff, and it's for mental health.
If they decide that they need some help, they can use this facility.
And then the last one is 3.8, athletic training services. So somebody comes and trains, does training to our kids, and then the parents pay or we pay?
Essentially what this is, oh, do you want to speak to it, Ms.
I was going to
McLeod?
say it's an athletic trainer. So that's a person who we have to have on site when we have sports activities in case somebody has an injury. An athletic trainer will be able to be the first person to assess the child before perhaps they need medical attention.
And
And
we have a
children go to the trainers before they go out on the field if they have an injury. Sorry.
Right. And we have to have a service in case we don't have a trainer available, so that's a backup. That's it.
Any other questions? Hearing none, roll call please, Mr. Chaliano.
Sure, Dr. White.
Yes.
Ms. Dallin?
Yes.
Ms. Spina?
Yes.
Ms. Phelan?
Yes.
Saris?
Yes, and abstain for personnel, 4.1 to,
4.1.
4 and 10.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, all of it, yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Willick, Jernigan?
Yes.
Thorgan?
Yes.
Mr. Todd?
Yes.
Thank you, motion's carried.
Thank you, sir. New business from the public. The Board of Education welcomes and encourages input from the public. Members of the public are allotted one opportunity to bring any new business to the board for up to a maximum of 3 minutes per speaker. All comments must be directed to the board. Before you make your comment, please state your full name and address and enter both on the Chromebook provided. Being mindful of privacy rights regarding students, board employees, and board members, and to avoid any potential liability on the part of the speaker, the board discourages defamatory and discourteous remarks. The public comment portions of the meeting are not structured as question and answer sessions. The board may need to refer an issue to the superintendent if the issue has not been handled through the appropriate chain of command, usually starting at the school level. Responses may be provided at the end of this session. Public comments are now open.
Balaji Agneshwaran, 300 Berkeley Avenue. Thank you for giving the opportunity. I'm here to talk about that what has quite deeply affected the academic future of the children in the community. We have created a two-tiered system in Montgomery. Until recently, students who demonstrate high aptitude and strong work ethic had a clear merit-based pathway to advanced math. With right support and performance, a student could take pre-calculus by 9th grade. That the pathway has now been closed to majority of them, but they are not capable. But system has redesigned to give geometry at the highest level available in 8th grade. What does it mean? It means that most students are locked into Algebra 2 in 9th grade unless their family can afford to pay for summer Algebra 2, hire a private tutor, and rearrange their schedule for transportation. Only then can the child move ahead with pre-calc in 9th grade. Let's be honest, this is no longer a system built on merit. It's a system based on privilege. You have created an environment where two students equally capable and hardworking are placed on entirely different academic paths simply because one family could afford to pay and the other could not. This inequity doesn't end just in one grade level. If a child is Algebra 1 or Geometry in middle school, the same pattern continues. Families with financial affordability can accelerate 2 levels in one summer, while a child of a parent working multiple jobs can only progress 1 step at a time. One such student is a child of a single mom. She works 2 jobs, one during the day, other during the night, just to keep the lights on. Her son is gifted in math, loved in elementary school, but now she sees her peers leap ahead through a paid summer course while he stays behind, not because he lacks talent, but because his mother can't afford private tutoring or time off from work. He is slowly losing confidence. He is asking himself, why try hard in the system is rigged against me? This heartbreaking question for a child to ask. And when family raise concern, they are told it only affects minority. Let us be clear, who are those so-called minority? They are the kids who believe in hard work, the kids who studied ahead, the kids who counted on the school system to see how they support them, how they give a fair shot. So I ask you tonight, if you truly value inclusion and academic excellence, we can't ignore this issue. We must either restore a fair and transparent pathway to advanced math that's open to all students based on merit, or apply the current policy that's equal to everyone without any hidden workaround for families who can pay. Every child in Montgomery deserves access to opportunity. We owe a system that doesn't reward privilege over potential, a system that inspires them to work hard because they know it will recognize. Let us not quietly build a two-tier system, and let us be one united and be fair to our children. Thank you.
Karen Anderson. Emails. Can you put your emails back on the Board of Ed page? I don't believe they're on there anymore. I think they used to be, and I once looked for them because I figured out what they were. I don't trust, I'll be honest, I don't trust your Board of Ed email because of what happened 2 years ago. You had something in there that quarantined based on selective words, which the board members could not read. But Anyway, I don't trust it, so I do both. And if the instructions are to use your direct emails, please make those instructions clear to the people that are sending you emails. It's late, I hope that makes sense. Just, if you could share your emails, that would be helpful. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments from the public? Going once, going twice? Closed. Any new discussion items from the board?
Yes, it's me. I want to thanks for sharing the ACI meeting reports. I know it's a little bit long, but contains a lot of information school shared, particularly when the report said that data demonstrate top math students are not experiencing ceiling effect and how the school demonstrated their path forward. I don't think some comments were included there. So today I made a speech. So I want to illustrate some of the points that I talked at the meeting. So I really appreciate the opportunity again to discuss the critical issue of our middle school mathematics curriculum. And last month at the BOE meeting, I made a motion to align our middle school math curriculum with higher ed expectations and ensure academic rigor is preserved. Specifically reinstating the math pathways, including pre-algebra in grade 5, algebra 1 in grade 6, and continue keeping the geometry in grade 7 and algebra 2 in grade 8 to providing the learning opportunities. I have 8 points I want to talk about. My first point is understanding the student growth matrix. So administration highlighted that top 10% of the Montgomery students are still showing adequate growth, referring the national growth percentile. It means that this high performance compared to their national peers, okay, they're still growing. So I think it's good to hear once again how strong our Monty students are compared to their national peers. So while this indicates positive trend, it doesn't provide a complete picture. We should analyze the local percentiles by examining the growth across various different local percentiles, 10s, 25s, 50s, 75s, and 90s from the fall to the spring STAR Math assessment. So this approach will offer a look at the growth trends from different starting points. So here is the graph I mean to ask, and I think I've asked about this graph since March. And that means explain what it means, okay? These are the 10th percentile kids, 25th, 50s, 75, and 90s. This is their baseline assessment from the fall, and the red line indicate the spring after a year they've learned with the school, you know, where they look at the different skill level. So this is like, I just created this to illustrate. I don't have the real data. I did request it, but Mary said all the data is identifiable, cannot be deactivated to share with me. But I think this information is important for public and for board to understand how our students grow at different point after a year they've learned with the school, where they are ending. So those is what I mean by looking at the complete picture, you know, from different skill levels. Okay, so within this context, then we can talk about who we're talking about, why the key stakeholders such as teacher, parents, students, and higher ed asking for these learning opportunities. So that's my first point I want to talk about. The second point I want to talk about is the importance of the program evaluation. So educational decisions should be grounded in thorough program evaluations. The previous removal of the physics in grade 9 in 2019, later reinstated after 3 to 4 years community advocacy, underscores the need for careful assessment before altering curricula. So that experience is a good example of how stakeholders input and should shape academic programming. So we must consider stakeholders' input, outcomes from pilot programs, and phased implementations to ensure changes serve our students' best interests. There are 2 really good textbooks I recommend, and I also used in the past few years when I teach about program evaluation. I highly recommend administrators consider, read about them and know about what program evaluation is. Same now is true for this advanced math learning opportunities. At lower middle school, these opportunities were removed 2 years ago. Yet in upper middle school, the same pathway still exists for the current cohort, but not for the upcoming future cohorts. That means offering geometry at grade 7 and algebra in grade 8. So since its removal 2 years ago, we've heard clear and constant feedback from teachers, students, parents, and higher ed experts, urging the district to bring this opportunity back, right? As a board, I think it's our duty to acknowledge these voices and ensure they're part of any decision-making process. Any decision to remove or restrict academic pathways, especially core curriculum, must be supported by strong evidence. The burden of proof lies in demonstrating that eliminating such opportunities still meets the needs of all students. Third, I want to talk about the equity access to advanced courses. I think that parents talked about that in his speech too. So he talked about that is like basically pushing the student to take the summer courses to meet the standards. So do you know what that means? This is really introduced equity issue. So families, students from families with greater financial means can afford these enrichment opportunities, while others, despite having equal academic potential, are effectively blocked from pursuing the same level of college preparation due to cost barriers. These summer programs can run up to $1,800, and that's on top of already high cost of living in this school district, including property tax and rent. Public education is supposed to level the playing field, not tilt it. If our curriculum structure forces some students to rely on private spending to stay on track with higher ed expectations, right, we're failing to provide equitable access to academic opportunity. We must ensure that all students, regardless of income, have a fair chance to pursue the coursework that align with their goals and potentials. So fourth, I want to talk about incorporating higher ed expertise. I really appreciate tonight Mr. Corey presented the portfolio. Then once a time we can see what our Monty students want, right? Majority of them want to pursue higher ed. They want to go with that track. So higher ed faculty are raising concerns not to dictate the classroom logistics, but to ensure that students are adequately prepared to succeed in college and beyond. Ignoring their feedback risks creating a disconnect between what our students are learning and what they will need to survive in higher ed and future careers. Fifth, I want to talk about the budget and staffing considerations. The administration cites budget and staff concerns regarding reinstating the math courses at lower middle school and keeping this opportunity at the upper middle school. However, these courses are part of the core curriculum, similar to ELA and science, and this should be prioritized accordingly compared to elective courses. Moreover, these courses are already offered at upper middle school for current 7th and 8th graders, indicating the feasibility with existing resources. Next, sixth, I want to talk about addressing diverse learning needs and impact on student well-being. So this issue is not just academic. It is also about student engagement with their own education. When students are not sufficiently challenged, they can experience frustration and disengagement. Research consistently shows that student health engagement with their own education requires, among other things like teachers and parent support, an appropriate level of challenge. The consequences of disengagement can include behavioral problems and potentially lower self-efficacy in addition to lost academic opportunities. So this connection between the academic fit and emotional health was acknowledged during the April BOE meeting when student well-being was rightly brought up. But if we are serious about student wellness, we must also look at how curriculum impacts students who are not sufficiently challenged. For these students, school can begin to feel they're unfair, like their potential is being overlooked, which we've heard multiple student representatives from the March BOE meeting. And many educational researchers have noted the missed academic opportunities can lead to long-term negative outcomes in both achievement and mental health. Last point I want to talk about is the board role in curriculum decision. I really appreciate it. Anya said you're gonna share a handbook to support new board members such as me. I really, I appreciate that, because for me as a new board member, I'm trying to understand what the board roles are, particularly in the curriculum decision. So my understanding is at core, the Board of Education exists to represent the community. Our job is to listen carefully to the voice of the key stakeholders, parents, students, teachers, and experts, and to ensure our educational decisions reflect the needs and values of the community we serve. If every decision in the educational system worked perfectly fine through the administrative chain of command, there would be no need for an elected board. But we do exist for precisely this moment, when diverse perspectives need to be heard and thoughtfully oversight is required. I respect some of the board members who may hold different views. I welcome open, respectful dialogue. However, the dialogue must be grounded in transparency. Last month, I made the motion to reinstate the advanced math pathways in lower middle school and keep the current one of the pathways in upper middle school, reflecting this overwhelming feedback from our community, because more than 50 families submitted an appealing letter to the board asking for this opportunity in our middle schools. It is also important to note that many of the families who are unaware of these opportunities have been removed for younger cohorts. In addition, many faculty from leading universities expressed concerns about the district's current core curriculum alongside anonymous feedback from non-teachers. Despite this, we did not pass the motion. So I think we owe our community a clear reasoning for the decision we make, especially when they directly impact student academic trajectories. So what specific issues do you see with bringing back this opportunity in lower middle school, keeping that one track in the current opportunities in upper middle school that are currently in place in upper middle school, right? Supported by teacher, parents, higher ed faculty alike. What are the burden of proof lying in demonstrating that eliminating such opportunities still meet the needs of all the students? So that's what I want to say about this math thing. I want, if any of the board members or Mary want to provide input, welcome.
Any questions, comments?
I actually had a question, because we did spend a lot of time trying to raise questions and ask for information about the newly proposed math curriculum. So I would like to maybe either request a full presentation, maybe to the full board, of what the new curriculum actually is, because it seems like from the ACI reports, we get very high-level overview stating that nothing to worry about, there is no change, everybody will be taken care of, all students' needs will be addressed. But the reason why I personally am a little bit concerned and skeptical is because not too long ago, we were facing a similar change in physics, right? When IPELS and HIPELS was introduced and physics was removed, instead of addressing the actual issue why physics was not really, why students were not performing well in physics, was because they did not complete the required math level to be ready for that course. And instead of offering physics, let's say in sophomore year, to give the remaining students extra time to complete the required math courses, we implemented IPELS and HIPELS. And that course is more of a survey course. And what happened was that we heard, even at the board meeting, concerns from the faculty members. And their concerns was that this was a course that did not have textbooks, did not have proper resources. The teachers were not prepared to teach that course, and year over year, students, parents raised a lot of issues with the quality of that course and how students benefited from it. So now so physics, and now we're going back to physics because we realize that survey course in area like science class or math is really, I don't think it's a good idea personally. So now we have a similar proposal with math. And math, we had a really excellent program that, as a result of that program and opportunities that it created, we have the National Merit Scholars. Now we have the amazing robotics team. All those students are so excellent and so accomplished because they were presented and they were offered opportunities that were advanced in math and physics. So now if we take away that program and replace it with more generalized survey program, I don't think, I just cannot understand how we are actually creating a better opportunity and stronger math path for our students. So this is something that I would like to understand because from information that's being shared by ACI, I cannot really assess that. I don't know what kind of books would be used, whether the teachers are prepared to teach that course. So in about a month or two, we will be voting on the curriculum. By then, I would really like to understand what exactly that curriculum will be. Because it will be, if we don't have the clarity, I don't think this vote with the new curriculum will pass because I will not be able to say, okay, I am for the change and then feel that I failed the students the same way as the students who took high bills of being failed.
I just want to say there was no change to the curriculum. It's been the same curriculum for many years now, and the curriculum was already approved in January.
That's program studies approved in January, right? Not the curriculum.
I would have to look. The only thing we approved in the summer are a new curriculum. So any new courses that will be coming up, and there's no, in regard to what you're speaking of, there's nothing new.
So maybe we just need to have another conversation with a deeper understanding of what specifically will change, what stays the same, and whether or not we're truly addressing the needs of each group of students. Because we do have a responsibility to provide challenges for more advanced students. And then we do have a responsibility to provide opportunities for learning for other students as well as special needs students. So if there is a change that's coming, and parents are observing the changes, right? There was a change in lower middle school, and now there's certain opportunities, it seems like they are being taken away. I believe that well, you're shaking your hand, Maria, but
because they're answering your question, but you're still going on, and the question has been answered. There has been no change. We approved curriculum in January. It wasn't the same. Let me say there was no change to that curriculum. The
program of studies.
Right, the program of studies that was approved in January.
That's not curriculum.
The curriculum was approved in January.
At the reorganization.
At the reorg meeting.
Oh, so curriculum equal to program studies.
They were both approved.
No,
Both.
yes, both were.
But in January, when we approve the curriculum, isn't it for the remaining part of the school year? And then during this summer, then the staff works on changes to the curriculum, they rewrite some courses, and then there is a new,
Correct, so nothing's going to change in the math program.
So
There's no new course, there's no new curriculum
For math.
for math.
There was a new dance program added.
And we already have a curriculum for that.
I think maybe it's worthwhile to clarify the concerns that parents have and have maybe examples of, okay, currently this is the path of the maybe more advanced students that the student would take and the courses that they would take. And maybe it would be worthwhile to just ask whether or not this year or next year, whether or not the same type of student would be able to have the same opportunities. Because we constantly hear the concerns from the parents, and I would not want to ignore them.
To confirm what the concern is, to confirm what is seems to be the concern is that Algebra 2 in 9th grade would be the highest that a student could attain by 9th grade. They could no longer get pre-calculus in 9th grade. So because of a pre-algebra being bumped up from 5th to 6th, so then Algebra 1 is at 7th, Geometry is at 8th, Algebra 2 is at 9th, pre-calculus would be at 10th, Calculus AB would be at 11th, Calculus C would be at 12th. At any time during that, they could double up. The only difference would be that there is no difference. That when before, if you had pre-calculus as a 9th grader, then you would take Calculus AB as a 10th grader, Calculus C as an 11th grader, and that's it.
Everything is still being offered.
Right, there's no pathway that ends because of the changes that were made years ago.
But I think like that the concern that the parents keep raising is that because right now that Calculus C is available to a junior student, so when they complete a junior year, that will actually show up on their transcript when they apply to colleges. If that student will be delayed by 1 year, right, and be able to take that course in senior year, then it doesn't really help them with the college application.
No, they will have had the ability to take it in junior year.
But we just say that like in the 9th grade, they will no longer be able to take pre-cal, which
So then
doesn't it mean that like they will be delayed 1 year with completing the full path?
Right, so at this point, there's nothing left for their path after junior year.
Which is fine because that's when the college applications are already completed.
Right,
So that's what they want. They want to complete.
They want
the highest possible.
3, 4,
And that pathway is still in place.
Yeah, it's still in place.
It's still very much in place. So I'll look up the two, there have been 2 board presentations on the math, so I just don't know exactly where they are.
2022,
So I'm gonna look for them and I will send them to the
I'm
whole
pulling the
board.
January agenda here.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
2.5 and 2.6, the program of studies got approved. I never seen curriculum words headed up there. So I'm surprised to hear curriculum got approved in January agenda. Can you tell me which number?
It's on page 5.
Roman numeral 16.
2.16?
No, Roman numeral 16. At the reorg meeting, it's a little different. The number.
Reorg.
The one from, I think it was like January 4th.
Or 7th, January 7th.
Okay.
It's part of reorganization resolution.
Are you looking at the board meeting or the reorg meeting?
Yeah, there's 2 in January,
There's two.
first one.
That probably is.
Because according to NESN, NJ recommended by May sometime. I'm surprised to see, again, new board member, like first day, ask me to vote something that I've been not aware of. This is a little bit shocking to me. 16.
So there
Why
was
you
no
look that up
changes.
to say
Yeah, there was no changes.
juniors can take AP Calculus C. They're in their junior year with taking Algebra 2 in freshman year. It's based on their performance, as Michelle read from the notes in ACI.
Correct. So I'll look up the two prior presentations, and then just if you could read the ACI notes from today, because I think it was very specific in terms of, you know, the data that we have in front of us. I think what I'm having most struggle with is the idea of, you know, we're talking about data and we're talking about proof. Where is the data and where is the proof that kids are not being challenged and that are not doing well in the math program? Like that's what I worry about, because we're talking about all of these hypotheticals that they may not be challenged or they may not get to, but there's no data and there's no proof that shows that students are not being challenged in the math department. So that's where I
The
don't
question is,
understand.
there were some programs were there before, which are not there now.
There's still what programs?
Some math programs has
Every
been.
single course that was there previously is still there, and they still can take them all within their tenure as a student here.
No, the track for grade 8 take Algebra 2 and Geometry at grade 7 is gone. And I wonder why for neighborhood school district like Hopewell, they offer that and parents pay lower property tax. They have that learning opportunity, but we don't. And also, why that learning opportunity exists for older cohort but not for younger one? Is that because our younger ones are not ready as older cohorts to do that? So again, I think to better understand how our Monty students are progressing from elementary to middle school, especially considering that taxpayers here contribute over 100 million annually to our schools, it is essential to understand this information to report it to the community. So I think this question is to Mary. You previously noted that student assessment data are identifiable, and you cannot deduct the identifiable information to share with me for analysis. So in that case, then I'm asking, can you present a summary of the results, as I mentioned here, and share the assessment outcomes with the public, the local percentiles? Second, and we all know enrollment has been steadily declining. For example, in school year of 2019, including pre-K and kindergarten, Monty has 4,660 students. In contrast, for last school year, 2024, including pre-K and kindergarten, the number is down to 4,459. So at the March ICI meeting, I asked how many 8th graders from upper middle school have not enrolled at our Monty High School in the past 5 years. I think understanding our retention rate is very important, as this is identifying the reasons family chose to leave the Monty School District. I think as you're the leader of the school district, I really appreciate to hearing your thought on this.
So was the data shared with you at ACI? I don't have that right at my fingertips.
Oh, you don't understand my question?
Which data?
No, what data are you talking about now? I don't have that. I don't have data right in front of me at a board meeting at 11 o'clock at night.
You don't have to give me data now.
Is that the question, the 8th to 9th grade?
No, I think she was asking how many kids leave the school district of 8th to 9th grade.
Yes, that's from when
From
they move
8th
up
to
to
9th.
Monty High School.
That leave and don't go to Monty High School.
Right.
Correct.
Was that shared at ACI?
No.
That was not shared at ACI.
No.
Was that asked at ACI?
That was
where-
not asked at
But
ACI.
yeah, I asked and said in the Excel file in March. So the
Okay.
school administrators received that.
Well, I was going to say that might have
Yes.
gone straight to the school administrators. There's lots of questions that. Is it clear that courses still exist? Is that clear, Joanna? In terms of, I think we're talking about two different things. There's courses that still exist, and then there's different pathways or tracks or however we want to call it, depending on the individual strengths and challenges of students.
Okay.
But the courses still exist.
What I just heard her say that
Sorry.
trig was, or geometry, or what?
Yeah, geometry do not exist in upper middle school anymore. They do exist in high school.
No, geometry does exist. in the
Geometry is still on the upper middle
It
school.
is.
Right
Yes.
now, but
And
you
it
said
will-
we approved the new curriculum. When I go to Blue Atlas, when you pull out grade 8, geometry is gone. Because that's the track they eliminated.
So, two things. One, in January, when we have the reorg, we are not approving curriculum that's new. We are just reapproving whatever was approved in August because there are new members joining. Right. Now, the actual curriculum approval is in August. And in August, we go through all the courses, and this is where we have a list of existing courses, and then we highlight a list of new courses, right? So, because we anticipate that vote, this is why this conversation is important to take place right now, so there are no surprises, right? What was it, like a month? Yeah, like last month, there was Jason Sullivan, Jen Riddell, and Fiona, right? So they came to the podium and they were addressing some of the comments that Tinga made, and they made a statement that they have been working on the new math program for 2 years, and they would be heartbroken if they would not be able to move forward. So this is why I struggle with reconciling what is being presented and what exactly will be changing in the upcoming school year or in the future years. Because they did specifically say that there will be a new program, and the way they explained it.
A new program for what?
For math.
Who said that?
It was Fiona at the podium, I think, at the time. It was Fiona, Jen, and Jason. So I just want to really get
In next year's program of studies, only geometry is the highest math for 8th grade.
That's in the program studies, but in the curriculum app, Blue Atlas, when you search grade 8 math, it's gone. Geometry is not there.
The geometry, because Math 8 is just a Math 8 course. Algebra 1 and geometry
Correct.
are their
Geometry's
own
in there.
discrete courses. They are their own courses. Does not matter if it's being taught at a middle school level or at a high school level.
It's the
Geometry
same.
is a course.
The course
and
is still
therefore
there.
The course is
Yes,
there.
but now it will eliminate 8th graders to take that
No, they are
course
not.
opportunity.
Not geometry.
So you're, oh sorry, not
Algebra
geometry,
2.
algebra 2, yes.
Yeah.
Geometry will be the highest math class.
Yeah,
in
geometry,
history.
geometry 2.
Yes.
Geometry will be there for 8th graders in 2 years.
Thank
I
you.
think
Yeah,
that's
that's
for last year for algebra 2 for 8th graders.
Algebra 2, sorry,
In
yes.
middle
Right.
school.
And for you, I'll tell you one thing.
So the public comments are over. Thank you. Any other comments or discussions on this? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Yeah, I'll help you find.
Yeah,
because
absolutely. We need to be really, really clear on this. I'm determined to be very clear on this. But again, I think we need to be very prescriptive in terms of where is the data that shows that students are not being challenged.
Michelle, I think
Yes.
that as long as everybody agrees that all the programs are there, but the question is the pathways. Pathway is there for everybody who wants to take, or it's restricting certain kids at certain age that they cannot take. I think the question is that, about the pathways. Of course, the schools have geometry, schools have calculus, schools have everything, but who can take it? That's the question, basically. That's what I think the board member Ting you asked.
Prerequisite they can take, right? I don't want to misspeak, but if students meet the prerequisite, they can take the next course. So the pathway is there and the courses are there. Does that make sense?
The pathways are there, and they have to ask a student to take the summer course. That's introduced inequity issue. And the data, I don't know where is that. That's what I'm asking for, is like, you really need to demonstrate it. Eliminate such opportunities still meets the needs of the students. You eliminate this, still all the students at different skill set, they still feel challenged within the right challenge. They receive the right challenge.
I thought data was shared at ECI that showed that there is no
And that's
ceiling.
what my first bullet point I talk about is they shared is with their challenge with their national peers. That's different. National percentile is different from local percentile. Local percentile is me compared to myself, baseline, pre-test, post-test. I feel I'm challenging this whole school year. It's not, I feel like I'm growing better than another version of another person nationally. Nationally, we already know Monty is very strong. Even in New Jersey, Monty is very strong already. And then we need to know is local percentile. That's usually what teachers use instead of national. So the information Fiona shared is good to hear once again how strong our Monty students are compared to their national peers. But then the real core issue is themselves, compared to themselves. In a year learning with the school, have they been feel challenged? Have they improved? That's called growth. That's exactly what this plot was talking about. Somebody with Excel skills sorted the scores from low to high, can easily plot this out. Can be a fascinating project for seniors when they take AP seminar.
I saw the data that showed that even she used the top 10% because that's what you kept speaking of, and that's why she showed only that portion, and how every year they progress, which means they are not hitting the
They're
ceiling.
using the national one. It's not.
No, their personal scores are progressing.
Oh, they compare to their national ones again. They're not using the local personnel for fall and spring. That's the national percentile.
Oh, like
Well,
ones
it
that
says that
have
they're academic peers.
Academic years and the
Individual
national one, because they use the national one.
Well, I'm assuming that that's the metric that we've always used. I mean,
If that's always
Isn't
used,
that the
I'll
metric
be-
that we've always
I'll be
used?
very surprised because usually teachers using local
I
percentile,
was going
which
to
is
say
more
some of the assessments must have some of that data. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We'll look into that. It's not going to get solved tonight.
Yeah, the report shows you the national percentile, not the local one. But usually for teachers, they use the local percentile.
What do you
Especially
mean local? What do you mean local?
local means if cohort have 100 students and you sorted their test score from the highest to the lowest, the bottom 10 students are called 10th percentile, the average score, and the top 10 students are the top 90th percentile. So that's called local. And you compare pre-test in the fall, post-test in the spring. You compare to see their mean if they grow anything a little bit. That's
isn't that we get from NJSLA?
Yes.
That's what we get from NJSLA.
NJSLA got the snapshot of each cohort at one step thing, so you can't really it's not apple to apple when you trace that trend.
To test it in the fall, winter, spring, and to show growth.
Well, if you look at the NJSA, you can see more than, that's how I also presented, talked about the February BOE meeting, more than a quarter of the percent of students exceeding, not just meeting expectation, but exceeding that. That means they're not challenged. They're so ready to learn.
Well, you can't just unfortunately have a child that is exceeding in Algebra 1 and say, oh, because they're exceeding
That's
in
why
Algebra
we're
1,
asking star
we're going to plop them
assessments.
into a different course that that doesn't work.
Yes,
So
that's why I
therefore-
said you cannot look
And
at
the
NJ,
STAR
it's not
assessment is only going to give you from K through 8.
And stars, that's why I'm asking stuff. But you brought up NJSA, I want to talk about NJ assessment too. Well, if you want to talk about the assessment, I can go semester session about it. So I'll stop it for now.
Any other comments or questions? Number 9. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Properly moved and second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those in favor say right. Situations. Thank you guys for coming out.